Castraleja. Is Jessica sit here?
No idea.
Don't say anything. Walk away slowly. I love everyone.
When we got down there, we were like, oh, this is great. I was like, national championship plan. I said, she goes, I know more about that. Oh, I'm not about that. People started
There's one amendment to fix grammatical stuff, but nothing new. Whoever was
well, I was back to the beat. My podcast idea. I was looking at it for him. And I was just like, I got kind of asked. I was like, here we go. I was kind of watching. And I was like, anybody else? They get it. Yeah. Because the maybe the out there.
Whatever that was.
All things considered, okay.
Just assume it must
I tried.
Yeah, no. And we're on your
Oh, right. Right there. He said, Mark, did you tell people to speak too loud? What?
Too loud? Turn them an adjective. Hey, where is
No, don't do that.
Hey, guys, no time to sit back there.
I was talking to Rachel.
I'm going to sit here and be a distraction to everyone. Yes, that is why we could make that I'm really loving it. No, I'm going to do your laptop.
Were you there in your advisory room?
I absolutely was.
Yes, you was.
I was right.
Yeah, that way I
I'm just gonna put the stipulator on. That's fine.
You're doing the wrong thing to Sarah.
I know, but I love it. I can't help it.
Fire in. Where are you?
If only I could have stuck with chemical engineering or one of those things that would make me.
I texted him too.
It's true, but I'm pretty sure I get paid better here. So.
There's less.
And they get free dinner up with today. Happy to be
I think it's in a minute. You just don't know how to do it. Yeah. If that, I mean, fire pretty damage. I guess there could be. No, go ahead. No, just go right. Not okay.
Howdy. 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 This meeting at 64 session will come to order. Speaker Hathaway, please call the opening roll.
Hi, Speaker Wilson.
Howdy.
Myself. Howdy. Chair Beam.
Howdy.
Chair Smith.
Howdy.
Chair Barber.
Howdy.
Chair Nidegger. Chair Nidegger. Chair McNutt.
Howdy.
Chair Harris.
Howdy.
Senator Kauser.
Howdy.
Senator Golden.
Howdy.
Senator Branson.
Howdy.
Senator Thornburg. Melancon.
Howdy.
Lester Vika. Gonzalez. Riley.
Howdy.
Robertson.
Howdy.
S. Brown. Reeves.
Howdy.
Keever. Strickland. Miller.
Here.
Young.
Howdy.
Jinkarik.
Howdy.
Bowen.
Howdy.
Spencer.
Howdy.
Canoe.
Howdy.
Mandry. Swan. Chen. Hutchison. Quesada.
Howdy.
Pittman.
Howdy.
Melendez. Here. Chip.
Howdy.
Moore Van Dyke. Nelson.
Howdy.
Altendorf.
Howdy.
Nadinger. Kingsbury.
Howdy.
Jessup.
Howdy.
King. Morris. Kelly.
Howdy.
Hernandez.
Howdy.
Sosa.
Howdy.
Berry.
Howdy.
Hernandez. Lahutsky. Struble.
Howdy.
Petrowski.
Howdy.
Bonner. Bonner, T. Brown.
Howdy.
Casaleja. Howdy. Serie. Serie, Esparza.
Howdy.
Keith. Howdy. Hilton. Howdy. Cleckley.
Howdy.
Basus.
Howdy.
Lawson. Lawson, Luce.
Howdy.
Mirage. Howdy. Davis.
Howdy.
Roberts. Roberts. Shutt. Howdy. Hill. Howdy. L. Sullivan. L. Sullivan. R. Sullivan. R. Sullivan. Vidine.
Howdy.
Briscoe. Briscoe. Womack.
Howdy.
Adams.
Howdy.
Henneman.
Howdy.
All right, thank you. And with that, if Senator Roberts could please lead us in invocation and pledge of allegiance. Oh, I'm sorry, Luce, Senator Luce. I'm sorry.
Please join me in the pledge to the American flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
now the pledge to the Texas flag.
I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, so please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for this opportunity to represent the students here at Texas A&M, and I pray that we would do so with excellence. And in Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you. With that, Chairman, may know we have a few items for open forum. First up is Aiden Powell. You have 2.5 minutes starting at 10. Senate State order, please.
Howdy.
Howdy.
A year ago today, I was contemplating suicide. I knew I was transgender, but I was not open about it. You see, there are no legal protections for gender identity and expression at Texas A&M. This means that because I do not fit the stereotype of male and female, I am more likely to not be hired for a job on campus, to be turned away from medical treatment of butyl, to be referred by the incorrect name and pronouns, to be chased out of any bathroom. And despite the fact that I've spent the last 4 years working and sweating to earn my diploma, I would still have to go through the state before my preferred name will be read at graduation. Those reasons and many others made suicide seem like a better option than coming out at times. I came out, though, because the anthropology department and the College of Liberal Arts are supportive. I'm employed on campus. My professors call me by my preferred name. I'm even able to do funded research on transgender individuals. There are areas of my everyday existence that still could be improved, however. Bathrooms are a constant source of stress. I have to email my professors every semester and ask them to call me by my preferred name. I do not go to Butyl despite the fact that it offers free health care. And there are places on campus that I just do not frequent out of fear that an altercation might occur. I am extremely privileged in the transgender community because I am standing here before you tonight. Many other transgender people are afraid that if they come out, they will be legally fired, expelled from A&M, or experience physical violence. Approving the anti-discrimination bill, which is inclusive of gender identity and expression, is a first step to ending these discriminatory practices and ensuring that the core value of respect is upheld at Texas A&M. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Chair Smith, 2.5 minutes starting at 10.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Just want to give you guys a little update on the Dining Services Enhancement Bill. Senator Shook and myself are doing a petition right now on this bill. We're going to student organizations and getting feedback on this bill. We're actually adding to it. If they have a problem with dining services we don't know of, we're going to add it to the bill and amend it in committee. Right now we have over 500 signatures on our petition. We're going to student organizations tomorrow and also on Monday. So if y'all would please like to join the petition, just email one of us your name, UIN, and major, and we will add you to the bill. And I also want to give a quick little update on the Q-Drop Task Force. We met with administrators a couple weeks ago. Dr. Lisa Compton-Young, members of the faculty, Dr. Don Kirst, one of them. We present our proposal of what we would like to do. We'd like to get rid of Figgy. We'd like to have 6 Q drops that we as students can use. And they basically gave us an alternative. It was not a pleasant one. They gave us an option of having 4 Q drops without Figgy, which to me wasn't the best of options. I would like to have your feedback. Please Facebook me or email me. Myself, Mark, or Chris, Crystal, when she gets here, and we can answer your questions more thoroughly because I don't have so much time. So please give me as much feedback as you want because we're trying to present options to the faculty, and I want to make sure that students get the best option as possible. So thanks again.
Thank you. With that, Senator Womack, 2.5 minutes starting now.
Howdy. So I'll just make this really quick. I know probably everybody like me got this email and saw the agenda tonight and was like, dang, that's a real long agenda. It's the longest agenda I've ever seen by double, but I just want to say that it's up to us to make sure this meeting goes smoothly. This is going to be a lot of stuff. Tanner cannot, there's no way the officer team or Tanner can make this happen. So I promise as someone who talks a lot, and I guess I'm doing that now, to only ask pertinent questions, to not do a lot of outbursts, no matter how funny I think I am, and just really get through this, because I know everyone at the end of meetings, it gets crunch time, and we're all wanting to get out of here, and you know, going to 11:30 is late for you new Army people. But I promise this is going to be really good. This really excites me because that many bills means a lot of people are doing what they're supposed to in these positions, and it really does encourage me a lot. And I think every single one of the bill authors that come tonight should be commended because they're not just sitting here, they're actually doing something. And it's okay, you don't have to have your name on every bill to do something, but just remember the clock is ticking. I know it doesn't seem like it, but the clock is ticking. Elections are coming up, and just try to think back of why you joined Senate. And get on with somebody or do something because you'll be out of here before you know it. You want to make sure you look back at this time and you actually did something with this seat because somebody else wanted to be in your seat. So tonight, it's going to be a great meeting. So thanks, guys.
Next up, Senator Spencer.
Howdy.
Hi.
I guess by now it's sort of become a tradition. I've done it twice, so yes, it is a tradition. I just want to read you guys a real quick quote, thought for the day, if you will. Today's quote comes from Pastor Frédéric Gustave Emile Martin Niemöller. I've been spending the past 15 minutes practicing how to pronounce that. And it goes like this. First, they came for the socialists. And I was not a socialist, so I did not speak out. Then, they came for the trade unionists. And I was not a trade unionist, so I did not speak out. Then, they came for the Jews. But I was not a Jew, so I did not speak out. And then they came for me. And there was no one left to care. And, so yeah, that's really all I got for you guys. Thanks.
Last up, Kyle Womack.
Howdy. Howdy, everybody. I'm not here to talk about executive council. I'm just here as a guy who used to be in Senate. And I'm very much disappointed in something that's happened recently, and I was made aware of it. Back in the old Army, not too far ago, but a while back, I was the pro temp and I had 4 fish aides, Brian, Caroline, Felipe, and Peyton. And they had this great idea, that they put in the legislation and put in the bylaws. And it was an idea that we could put these tables out where student senators would go out and they would meet with their constituencies, they would make their presence known, they would hear requests from the student body, and those requests would turn into legislation with the executive cabinet would enact. And what I'm hearing, again, another semester, is this task is too laborious. It didn't get done. And I don't know why. And I don't care whose fault it is. I don't care there's no reason for it not to have happened. If you don't have time to sit at a table, to sign up, or to make sure these things are getting done, I'm speaking to every senator, then you don't have time to do anything else. All right, you don't have time to attend these meetings, you don't have time to go to class. This past election was the most contentious election in student senate since I've ever been recording things. If you don't want to go out and talk to students, then please, by all means, we have people to fill your seats. I know, because 40 of them didn't get elected. It makes no sense to me. And I don't have an eloquent speech or an eloquent motivation. I'm just saying it's bad. They're students. That's your job, is to talk to them. And they don't know who you are. And it's not a problem that's, irrevocably worse this year than back when I was in Senate, but it's not getting better. And if we're not getting better, then we're worse. They're just table hours, and I want to work with whoever I can next semester to put the process back right and get people out there and get people motivated, because these conversations, this dialogue, it's what we're supposed to do as a student government. It's your charge as a student senate, and I pray we get back on track. Thanks and giggle.
Last up, Chair Harris.
Well, first off, guys, I apologize for not getting, we kind of failed with the opinion tables. However, show of hands, how many of you signed up for those? This semester. And that's why, I just wanted y'all to understand why we had to cancel them. Basically, I brought it up to Internal Affairs at our last meeting. It was a unanimous decision by all of our officers. Basically, I want to get rid of this place. And the reason I want to get rid of this program is because I think we can do a lot better than this program. This has been a program for 3 semesters here, ever since I was a senator. I was a senator when this came up, actually, is when I got in Senate. And guys, it's never worked right. And when it has worked right, we haven't got good opinion. We may, I've heard a lot of senators here lately have been going to organizations just on their own, and they're getting some really great opinion. Some senators have taken new legislation to those meetings, and students have gotten to amend these documents. Guys, that's phenomenal. It's not something that's going to happen at a table when people are trying to go to class and trying to take exams. It's something that's going to happen when they're in an organization meeting and they're on their own time. And that's why I would like to see something replace these opinion tables. Class time is for class. Organization time is for organizations. And that's just kind of how I feel about that. So thanks again.
Okay, with that, I mistakenly skipped mission statement and core values, so we can read that. Yeah. No.
Alright guys, the Texas A&M Student Senate mission statement is as follows. The Texas A&M University Student Senate represents all students in order to enhance the Texas A&M experience within our university and communities through research, legislation, and advocacy in accordance with the core values of our institution. Our core values are excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service.
Okay, now we will proceed to organizational forum. First up, we have looks like Tom Oakland with the Student Services Committee. And you have 5 minutes, starting Howdy.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
I just wanted to bring up a quick kind of, slight bit of a pet peeve of mine, kind of a communication issue. I noticed a lot of you, creeping on Facebook, have been meeting with administrators and stuff. I think that's wonderful. I think that's phenomenal. But if you know who your subcommittee chairs are, specifically me, Transportation Services Chair, where are all the other subcommittee chairs, if you raise your hands. If you get to know those, talk to your policy committee members. If you know of any other subcommittee chairs, please talk to them before you go and talk to an administrator, because it's important that we have effective communication. That way, we don't seem redundant when we go and talk to administrators about things that have already been discussed. Another thing, I'm working on compiling a report for transportation services, looking for specific issues that we're going to tackle. If you would like to get on board with this, please let me know. I'm researching them, and I would like to get this report finished sometime before the end of this session. So with that, I think that's everything. Thanks, Indigo.
With that, right now, 5 minutes, starting Howdy.
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 I'm going to talk to you about something pretty similar to what Tyler just talked to you about. Do you have? Great. Y'all will notice that some of the bills that we have are great. I'm glad they are being proactive. But we've noticed that a couple of the bills that have come up could really be taken care of with a simple email or a simple sit-down meeting with some of the administrators on campus, and then codified with a follow-up resolution, thank you. And so I kind of want to talk to you all about to make my VPs more successful, to make you more successful, make student government as a whole a better run organization. Kind of want to go through sort of an ideal build process from my perspective. The step one is, what is your idea? You may want to improve transportation services, whatever that might be. Your second step should be to email the committee chair or subcommittee chair in Tyler's case, and also CC one of my vice presidents on that so that we're in the loop and that we know what's going on, because we'd love to help you with your research on your bills to make sure that you have good, solid whereas and enacted clauses. And then we'll go and meet with an administrator, sit down with them and see if we can come up with a solution and get some more background information. And then condense that information into a written bill, introduce the bill here, refer it and pass it through the committee, pass the bill, and whenever it's time to enact, email my VPs and we'll keep you in the loop about where your bill is and what the status of that is. Because we want to make sure that all the bills that you guys bring to the executive branch, the ones that Jeff signs, we want to make sure that they get enacted. But we're coming to a point like tonight where you look at your agenda and there's just so much on there and there's so many bills to keep up with, it's kind of weighing us down. So we want to make sure that we streamline this. And I've talked to Tanner, talked to Amanda, and a couple other people, and we don't think this is a bad process at all. Now, Tanner is in the line of thinking that everything should be accompanied with a bill, and I completely agree. I think that's great. But if y'all can make sure whenever you come up with your idea to email your committee chair and also one of my VPs, we'll try to help you through the process as much as possible. Make sure you have really success. If y'all ever have any questions, our email addresses and contact information are on the website in the executive branch. We have table hour or office hours every week. Come by the executive desk, chat with us, let us know what your ideas are, how we can help. Because again, we're all here to serve students. Be sure to make sure we do it in the best way. Thanks again.
And Brian, did you? Okay. Brian McDonald with RHA.
I'm going to make this real quick. I know y'all have lots to get through tonight. So first of all, we had our diversity giveaway last Wednesday. Thank y'all for those of you who could make it. We really appreciate that. We do still have some extra larges left. So if you want one, email me at president@rha.tamu.edu and I'll make sure you get one. I just wanted to clear up one thing really quickly. I've gotten a question about it. Read my lips in it. No student fees were used for diversity. So I just want to put that out there. Thank you. Also, I just want to update you on the progress of the Leggett basement bill that has been forwarded up. People have seen that, and it has come back up on the CBE's agenda. They are currently looking at that and trying to get that space back. So thank you all for working with RHA to make this possible, and we're hoping to get that back. We need to continue letting them know how we feel about that, but thank you very much for all of your help on that. And with that, I think that's about it. Thank you. Have a great night, and good luck with this.
Finally, Annabelle Hutchinson with class councils.
Hi, I'm Annabelle Hutchinson. I'm a freshman senator, and also I'm a member of class councils, and I want to tell y'all about an event that class councils has been working on very hard, and that is the walks. Junior E-Walk and the Senior Walk, which I've been told to refer to as Pachyderm Walk. And the walks will take place next Tuesday, November 22nd, at the Association of Former Students building. There will be live entertainment, games, t-shirt sales, and free food. And that will take place between 10 and 2 p.m., well, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The senior step-off for the walk is at 2:12 p.m. at the 12th man statue. And the junior step-off is at 2:13 at the corpse arches.
Hey, whoop!
And after that, there will be a program at Kyle Field with a keynote speaker, and also there will be the announcement of the senior class gift. Other than that, that's next Tuesday. What you can do now is buy t-shirts. We're selling t-shirts from 10 to 3 in front of Coldus every Monday through Friday. And also, if y'all haven't seen them, we're selling these really cool canvases, and they commemorate just the walks themselves, and also because it's the 85th annual senior walk, Paxton Walk. And they're really cool, so check them out, and thanks and give them.
Okay, with that closes organizational forum, and we'll move into approval of minutes. So if there are no objections, we'll approve the previous meeting's minutes. Going once, going twice, minutes are approved. With that, we'll move into executive reports. So SVP Pickering, you're up.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Great to see you guys. All right. So for our exec report, I want to bring you, first I want to bring you a few specifics and then tell you kind of a more general report as well, give that as well. So first, some tangible bill accomplishments, or at least where we are in those. We'll start with a big one, SB 6417, which is, the Joe Rout bill. For those of you who haven't heard, we talked about it at Governance Council last week, and so since we talked about it there, wanted to bring it to you now. Tanner and I were in that meeting with Dr. Lofton and the rest of pretty much every possible person who could have a dog in that fight. Everybody from transportation to University Staff Council to Student Government Association to were graduate students there? I don't think. I don't think she. I can't remember. There were a lot of people in the room. Then obviously you had safety and athletics for game day and how that works. Then you had the architect of the MSC project, the building, the construction manager for the project, et cetera, et cetera. And everybody went around and said their piece. Dr. Lofton basically went one by one and just said, what do you think we should do? What do you think we should do? What do you think we should do? And then he kind of drilled people. Well, why do you think that? Well, I think this. What do you think about that? And it was kind of a back and forth, and then it came around to us. And Tanner and I, obviously, Dr. Lofton had a copy of the bill. The majority of the people there had the copy of the bill that said, well, we're advocating for a bi-directional limited access street. And so we said our piece, and then it went on. And just to give you, I guess, a little taste of what the room was like when we were advocating for that, safety was squirming in their seats, and pretty much everybody else was as well. The one thing that everybody agreed on was that the road needed to be open, which is a very good thing. There were certain people, not necessarily people that made a difference in the meeting, but architects really liked the idea of the plaza because it's beautiful. But the functionality of that, as you and I know, students on campus each and every day, that just didn't work. And so we all were unified in at least advocating there be some sort of a road. Everybody in the room was like, no, we can't do bidirectional because there won't be bike lanes. Whereas Tanner and I, the student perspective, are going, well, bikers use the zone anyways. But about a week after that meeting, Dr. Lofton made his decision, and it is going to be the same direction that it is now, unidirectional, just one direction, limited access. So that's the decision, and I can tell you that I think it's good that we were advocating for that because, like I said, there was a push in the room from the architecture side of things to say we need to close this and make it a plaza once and for all so the game day's safer. Well, because we pushed so hard for the road to be open both directions, and that kind of, since the continuum was here and we pushed for it over here, we came to kind of a middle ground to where, yes, it is just one direction, but it is a road. At night, it will be open, and also the curbs will be I don't know what to call them, but they won't be rolled. There you go. They'll be rolled curves so that hopefully on game day and just students walking across it will be a lot safer. So that's the update on that one. Also, another transportation one, SB 6415, which is the West Campus Garage Crosswalk Bill. Kyle Womack and his student services team they've contacted Peter Lang, Director of Transportation Services, and he has commissioned his traffic engineers to do a study on that. And we're hoping that by the end of that study, which could be by the end of this semester, or definitely by the end of next semester, if they agree, if the traffic engineer study agrees with what we brought forward, then you'll see that bill fully accomplished. Also, SB 6304 R64. That's the right to review graded materials. Crystal Usher, Vice President of Academic Affairs, worked with a couple others on her team. And basically, through a couple different meetings with administrators, landing them in Dave Parrott's office over in the Vice President of Student Affairs, who's the legal guru here about student rules and et cetera, said, you already have that right, and pulled it up right where it was in FERPA, and here it is. Students have that right. And so I talked to Allison Johnson, who is on Crystal's team in academic affairs in the cabinet, and what we're going to do to best inform students, I had her write up a little a little paragraph, and it's going to go out in a student body update, just because we're going to say, hey, we've heard from students that this was an issue, that you were having trouble viewing your tests, etc. You have that right. Here it is. So that is a bill accomplished. I mean, it was already there, but it took some prodding around to find where that was written in student rules. So that's a few for right now. And since in exec reports, I'm obviously not able to come up here and give a line item for every single bill and exactly where we are in that process, we're working to consolidate how we track legislation. We already track it in-house. Ryan, as my exec vice president, already set up a legislative tracking form that all of our vice presidents, as soon as they're handed the bill to say enact this, they're already tracking it. But those papers are all throughout different binders and with different people at different times, because as you know, this is a university, it's a big bureaucracy, it takes a while to get these things accomplished. So we're going to come up with a way, and I'm thinking maybe online, and the reason I don't have much for you on this is because it's a new idea, talking to Amanda, that some of you are wanting to really see more tangibles about where we are. So we're going to be working to come up with a better way to consolidate those legislative tracking forms. But at any time, if you have specific questions, please contact the vice president for which that bill falls under, and I guarantee they'll be able to give you an update of where we are in that process. So that's it for me. Thanks and gig 'em.
Chair Barber.
Chair
Jeff,
Barber.
if you could give us an update, Chair Barber, CO Chair. If you could give us an update on 6404, the City of College Station Proposition 1 opposition bill.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe I didn't give that update. Well, Drew, I'm glad you asked, because we beat the hell out of that bill. What was the count? It was 68%, right?
62, 38.
Okay, 62%. We beat it. Proposition 1 got knocked down. Thank you so much for bringing that up. That completely slipped my mind. That happened on Election Day a couple Tuesdays ago, and super exciting, because that means that College Station elections will now be held in November. And City Council members will be held at their current 3-year term limits, which is great. And really, when we kind of stepped back and thought about it, we were the only ones advocating on that proposition. And if you were to just read it, you would have no idea what it was about. You just wouldn't. It's one of those very confusing. It didn't say vote yes for May, vote no for November, which could have made sense, kind of like a V for Vendetta alliteration there. But what I think was so key was the fact that we had those yellow caution signs and said vote no on this, and I think people saw that and they're like, protect my vote, okay, vote no. So that was great work by Matt Cope, our Vice President of Community Relations, and Drew Barber, the Chair for Community Relations.
Chairman, Rules and Regs. The tracking system that you were talking about, would it be at all modified or modeled after the Domino's Pizza tracker?
I don't know. You got more on further one to you.
I can show you a template.
He can show you a template.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any further questions? Senator Bassoud.
Howdy, Cody Bassoud off campus. Mr. President, feel free to not answer this question if you don't want. Do you have an opinion on the SGA report on proposed fee increases as passed committee 6449 pending possibly tonight?
Well, I think that as a whole, we, and from sitting in the student fee meetings with Deborah Wright, looking at the fact that across the board you had a 2.8% increase in fees. To me, that is the first level of acceptable. It's not 100% acceptable, and I think that they should be looked at no matter what. Because even at 0.0028%, if that's not right, then that's an increase, and we shouldn't accept it. But I think at first we should look at it and go, okay, this is at first good. The fact that people are stopping, because if you look back, just a few years ago, I mean, you were here for this, you were seeing massive fee percentage-wise of people raising fees. So the fact that we've gotten to a point where we say we're going to stay under 3% is a huge accomplishment, and one that I think we should take note of when we first start looking at these fee increases. Two, I completely agree with the no stance on Mays Business School because it has to do with graduate students. Graduate Student Council exists. They meet here. They met here last night, set up just like we are, and I like the fact that we defer that to them. A few that I do disagree with is saying no to IT. How many of you have an iPhone or a smartphone? We'll stick with iPhones. How many of you have an iPhone? How many of you have an iPhone that is a 4S? A few of you. How many of you have one that's not? Okay, how many of you have one that's not a 4? That might be a 3. Yeah. Okay, so there's a few of you. Rock on. But in just a matter of a few years, this device, a piece of technology, has rapidly changed. And in the time that I've been here, class of 2012, internet on campus has dramatically improved. I remember being in astronomy, I don't know what the number is, we'll just call it 101. My freshman year, we had online homework every daggone day. And I'd go into Evans and I'd have to plan an extra 20 minutes to sit there, close out of Firefox, reboot it, not working, reboot it. And the fact that we've gotten to a point now where I can walk into Evans and my iPhone connects immediately to the internet is something to take notice of. And that's because of IT has improved, fiber optics, etc. So I'm okay as a student paying a few more cents every year for IT. That's me. I know it might be crazy to say that and say that I'm okay with a continued increase in fees for something like information technology, but that is one that I do feel strongly about because IT is a black hole, not just in the university system, but everywhere. And I think that's something that we all put a few cents into and we all benefit across campus. So I do have a few opinions on those, but in light of not taking too much more of y'all's time, if you want to talk to me more about them, I'd be happy to outside as you continue your meeting. But thanks for the question.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. Further questions? Go once, go twice. Thank you.
All right, dig 'em.
Chief Justice? Okay, I do have a brief report. So, Senate, I'm going to keep this brief, but I want to be sure everybody understands. So, I might have to turn into Mr. Not So Nice Guy tonight because we have to maintain order if we're going to get through this meeting. So, just so everyone is aware of how this works. There's a difference between being called out of order, as in you are out of order, and your motion is out of order. Your motion being out of order, your question being out of order, that is fine. That's just a mistake. If I call someone out of order, it means you're being unruly and disruptive in the chamber, and that's causing a problem that is detracting from us completing our business. Here are the penalties for that. Let's see. I will call you out of order twice, and I will be keeping track of that. The third time I call you out of order, you are censured, which means you lose speaking privileges for the remainder of the meeting. You can vote so that you can continue to represent your constituents, but that is it. You cannot speak after I call you out of order 3 times. If there are further attempts to speak out of order, if you continue to be a disruption, then I have the prerogative to remove your voting privileges as well. That's an appealable decision. You can make an appeal to the decision of the chair, but that is my prerogative. So if anyone in this chamber decides that they want to be rowdy tonight when we have an agenda that I believe Senator Vasuk told me is longer than the total number of bills passed in the 56th session for the year, if we choose to be rowdy during this meeting, just know that I do have my options. So, that being said, let's get through this and have a good meeting. Thanks again. Any questions for me? No? Okay, great. Amanda? No report. Okay, great. Thank you. So, with that, that concludes our executive reports. With that, we'll move into the consent agenda. Is there any objection to the placement of an item on the consent agenda? Going once, going twice. Consent agenda is approved as it was sent out to you. With that, we are moving into old business. First up, we have SB 6357 R64. That's the weekend library hours extension bill renewal that was sent to committee and is now coming back. So we have 10 minutes for a presentation starting at Howdy.
Point of personal information.
Yes,
They could keep it a lot shorter than 10 minutes, correct? That's not.
Yes, you absolutely can, and I would highly encourage that.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Same bill that came up last time. They made a few changes in the Student Services Committee. I know costs were an issue that was discussed. One of the changes that was made, when you get a chance, don't worry about it. One of the changes that was made talks about student fees and how they would be used, and it asks that this change only be made if no additional student fees are required to make it. And so it's that highlighted one right there. So long as no additional student fees are required to keep the library open longer. If they can do it without that additional student fees, then more power to them. If they can, well then it's not a move that we support. Any questions?
Okay, with that, questions for the bill author? Going once, going twice. Oh, is that a question? No? Okay. Going once, going twice. Seeing none, Chair will close question and answer. Now move to a period of debate. Do I see debate for? Debate for the bill? Senator Massoud.
Howdy.
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 It's a good bill, and I think the key thing that a lot of you were worried about was what Inaction Clause 2 fixes. Thanks again, Yield.
Debate against? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none, Chair to debate one-sided. A motion has been made for a voice vote. It's been seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Opinion Chair, the ayes do have it. We'll take a voice vote. All in favor of passing this piece of legislation, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
The opinion Chair, this passes. With that, we'll move into hearing. Yes. Motion has been made to deviate from the agenda. Consider the student fee bill. Is there a yes, stage point?
It has not been made available to the Senate 24 hours before the meeting.
Right.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
I will hear Senator Massoud first.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. The bill is not on the agenda. We are not in a period of open session. That motion is out of order.
Right. So the motion would be made.
Point of order.
Yes.
This bill was sent to Speaker Hathaway on Monday after it was passed out of committee. Why? What happened?
Somewhere between Speaker Hathaway and my email, it got lost. And nobody noticed the mistake until today, right before the meeting.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, stage point.
Move to deviate from the agenda into open session and move to call 6459 from committee. Whatever the name of that, the number of that bill.
I have my own question. Would it not just be in order to make a motion to pull it from committee at this point?
So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, motion has been made to pull from committee. It's been seconded. All in favor of pulling the student fee bill from committee, which means we will consider it right now, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And Chair, the ayes do have it. With that, does someone have a bill number for me? I don't have it written down.
6450.
That's okay. The fee bill.
6449.
449. Okay, thank you. So we have a 10-minute presentation on the fee bill.
Hey, personal preference.
Stage point.
Has this bill been sent out to the Senate? If not, can it be sent?
Should have been.
Moving forward. We'll get it in 2 seconds if it's not already.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Please maintain order, Senate. I will start calling people out of order.
Howdy.
Howdy.
We good to go?
Yeah.
Okay, I will try to make this as quick as possible. Just understand there was technical difficulties. This was sent to the right places Monday, so it was just accidental technical difficulties, I assume, via email. But anyways, okay, just go as fast as possible. The fee committee, we did meet. We sent out a survey that was viewed by more than the amount of people specified that we had to get it viewed by. We were supposed to get it by 0.5. We got over that. We got a little under 300 people, I believe, or 200 and it was in the high 200s. Over 250. Over 250. Okay, 250 is what we had to get opinion, and that was taken into consideration. And basically, I talk enough in here, and so my fellow committee members here have all become experts on one particular item in the bill. And so if you have a question about any of them, you can ask, and I will direct it to them. But our main goal in this was fiscal responsibility and understanding that these are tough economic times for everyone. I don't know about a lot of your families, but I know that my family's having to make
cuts right now. There are a lot of things that we would like to improve in our lives that we are unable to. A lot of kids' parents are out of work. A lot of kids like myself are paying for college by themselves. And we understand that we have to budget. We can't afford every little improvement and amenity that we want. And we know that a lot of our parents can't either. And so I know that my personal belief was that we keep that in mind and make sure that that the university's desires to improve and be on the cutting edge and offer every service they want to offer isn't put on the backs of students who are paying their own way and families that are struggling. That was my personal motivation. I don't speak for anyone else there. So that being said, should we go down the line and talk about each one individually? I want to keep it quick. Should we just go to question and answer? Okay, let's just go to
Really quickly, could I read off the results?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so rec sports was 32% for and 66% against. The undergraduate application fee, that was 36% for and 60% against. The writing center fee was 46% for and 51% against. The library fee was 53% for and 44% against. And the computer access fee was 50% for and 46% against.
Okay. And if you want vote totals on each individual question, you can ask for it. But we can just go and tell you every single decision that was made from our committee that was dedicated to diversity of thought and of perspective. That's why we got people from all over campus, from different political views, fee views, etc. Only one vote was not unanimous, and that was writing center. It was a 6-to-1 vote. But for the most part, it was unanimous. Mainly because this stuff is just common sense, and regardless of what you feel personally, like it's easy to look at it and make the right decision. Okay, we'll now move in. We can question and answer.
Okay. Questions for the bill authors?
Anyone?
Going once. Senator Basood.
Howdy, Cody Basood, off campus. Can you please just briefly summarize to me the outcome of those surveys for all?
We just did. Do you want to hear?
Yeah,
you can go look at Scott's.
I'll look at Scott's.
Yeah. Do you want to know we've covered the result surveys and the votes. The votes were all 7-0, except for the writing center vote, which was 6-1. And all there were 5 things to vote on, and we decided it was a pretty small number of increases proposed, and we voted to keep each fee where they are now.
Senator Markowski.
Kevin Markowski, off campus. Could I hear what the dissenting opinion on the writing center was?
Yes, you can. Who's expert on the writing center bill? Scott?
Yeah, I'm the expert on that one.
What was the insistence? Yeah. Because like SPAB, they didn't say who voted how. They just gave a tally, and so we're not gonna have that person be singled out. But
I just want to know what the opinion is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think with the writing center, it was that they are trying to expand their services. So with the fee increase, they would, if their presentation is accurate as to their intentions, they would, in fact, be expanding hours, hiring more people, doing more things, which is what you're supposed to see with fee increases. And we disagree with it for other reasons, but that was their intention.
Which are specified in the bill.
Okay. Thank you.
So basically, I mean, it was basically a thought of, can we afford to expand services right now? Do students need that? It was a 25% increase they're asking for 1 year.
Okay. Further questions? Going once. Going twice. Seeing none, Chair will close hearing question and answer. With that, we'll move into debate.
Point of personal preference. Can we halt anything on this bill until I get it finalized drafted?
You still don't have this?
It's just out. Just
okay, hold on a second. So we're now moving into a period of debate. Do I hear debate for the bill? I'll go to the chairman first.
Okay, howdy. Howdy. And again, we'll try to make this quick. Like I said, we had people from a lot of different opinions. We did extensive research on each of these. We heard the presentations from the administrators asking for it. A lot of things were taken into consideration. We went over what we were required to do on the survey. We got more results than were expected. And like I said, these are common sense decisions. You've got 7 people on this committee who feel a whole lot differently from one another about national politics, about SGA politics. I mean, we had a lot of dissenting perspectives, okay? And yet we all came to common conclusions on these, on each of these bills, okay? And I think, I know for me personally, I can only speak to my own logic, but, you know, my thought was, I'm having to budget, I'm having to deal with the income that I have. You know, I work 6 days a week, I'm paying for my own tuition. There are a lot of students like me. There are a lot of students with families who are struggling, okay, like some of ours are. And so we have to budget, we have to cut, and why should the university be an exception on our backs? That was my thought, and that being said, we did go on, you know, one by one and see, well, is this one necessary, is this one necessary? And with the exception of one vote, they're all unanimous to keep them where they are now. And that, understand that doesn't mean that they don't get the money they're asking for. That's not what it means. It's not like, oh, well, now IT's out of all we did is suggest that they find it from other revenue sources, and there are a lot of other revenue sources on the table. In fact, a lot of them mentioned that in their presentation, that, hey, if we don't get it here, we'll go over here, here, here to get it. And I can give you examples of that, but we're out of time. That being said, I will yield to, my guys don't have speaking privileges, do they?
Unless they're in the Senate.
Okay, all right, Scott, you want
Yeah, I did want to clear up the computer fee really fast. The reason we opposed that was it's a 2250. If you're taking 15 credit hours, it's a 2250 per semester increase. So it's a very large increase. And what we found was that they didn't take into account when they were showing what they wanted to spend. They didn't take into account enrollment growth over years. So even if you're getting the same fee from each student, if you go from 50,000 students to 51,000 students, that extra 1,000 students gets you a lot more money. So that was one thing they didn't take into account. The more important reason we opposed that one was because they were trying to pay for one-time expenses with permanent student fees. So it would kind of be like saying if you get $100 from your parents every month just for expenses, and then you tell them, hey, can I have $50 extra this month to pay for a bike? And so you get it, and then the next month they give you $150 again, and they keep doing it forever. It doesn't really make sense to pay for things that way. And so over the years, we've increased fees to pay for one-time expenses, and so now fees are a lot higher than they should be, and the money is kind of going to those departments without any idea where it's really going after that, or what it's being used for. So,
okay, thanks. Senator Pursuit, you have a question.
Mr. Speaker, I move to make a formal amendment filed with the chair.
Okay, motion has been made. Can you please summarize the amendment when we pull it up?
This amendment simply does just three simple things. In action 3, 4, and 5, which are IT, library, and writing center, switches it from opposes to supports.
Okay, that motion has been made. Is that a second? Yeah, that's a second. Stage point.
One parliamentary inquiry. I believe it's out of order to amend a bill to mean the exact opposite.
Pretty sure it's
I'm pretty sure by Robert Rules of Rules, yes it is.
I think
Point of parliament inquiry. I mean, I'm not aware of that.
No, it's not true. It just has to be germane to the subject.
that was my interpretation, and this doesn't switch the entire bill either. I mean, if we want to switch it. Yeah, yeah, I mean, this in the chair's opinion and our chair's opinion, this is a valid motion that can be made. So with that, I'm sorry. So, Senator Pursuit, motion has been made. You have debate for your amendment now.
Okay. Howdy. Howdy. I just want to make this very, I know some people probably have more articulate reasons for this than I do, but simply 3 reasons. First, the survey results, I believe, supported these 3 and not the others. I'm not changing any of the others. That was what I read those. If not, it was close enough, within the 40 to 50 range. These 3 fees are, I think, vitally important. They're academic in nature. Okay, I'm still in favor of opposing the revenue. 2, I believe, and I don't think SPP Pickering would say this, but I believe that the executive branch will probably veto this if these are left in there. That's me, just me saying that. So rather than pass something, get it vetoed, come back in 2 weeks and have to overturn and then go through the whole process again, let's work that out here right now so that what we support is what ultimately passes and gets signed and we can go about our merry business. Lastly, I think the fact that increased enrollment I think those numbers are a little bit off. 732 is the increase from the past year, which I believe for IT was about 400 a student times 732, 3 semesters, do the math. That's not 1.3 million, it's significantly less. And that is primarily why I'm proposing this amendment. The amount of money coming in from increased enrollment is not enough to meet these budgets. I think they did a good presentation, they kept it under inflation, and that we should support this. I yield to Senator Womack.
Heidi, Mark Womack, how much time is left, Mr. Speaker?
1 minute.
Okay, just really quickly to go a little bit on each of these fees. I think the Writing Center, again, academic in nature. What are they going to do with that money? They're going to hire student workers to fill those slots that are in demand right now. That benefits every student on campus. That money goes right back into students' pockets. Second, the library. I was on a website today trying to get a journal from the Harvard Business Review, and it was really frustrating for me not being able to have access to that journal, because now my paper is going to suffer because it does not have access to that journal. I think that is an extremely important thing. Again, very academic in nature. Again, benefits all students. And the third and final thing, IT. If you look at the number of tablets, netbooks, people's wireless devices are exploding out of control. IT has done an amazing job keeping it, like Cody said, under inflation.
20 seconds.
And additionally, the amount of improvement that's happened in the 5 years that I've been here has been exceptional. If this was a private company, they would be lauded for their amazing customer service, their ability to deliver high quality goods at low prices. Guys, these 3 individual things meet 2 criteria. They are academic in nature, and they serve every single student on campus. The other ones don't meet that criteria. That's why they were not proposed. This is a clear-cut, easy decision.
Okay. Debate against the amendment. Senator Struble.
First of all, I just wanted to say that this body approved of the committee that was going to oversee these fee increases, or optional fee increases. And so you all voted, I don't think there was anyone against. And so clearly, that was supposed to show that you had confidence in that committee to do its job. The committee has met together several times. We've presented this bill, and it seems odd to me that now we want to change over half of what you said that committee was, appointed to do. So that's first of all. Second of all, I would say that these 3 things don't necessarily help out all students. The Writing Center, what percentage of students use that? I've been at A&M for 3 years now, and I've never once gone to it, and it's not because I couldn't, it's because I didn't need to or didn't want to. So, while it may help those students who make use of it, it doesn't help every single student on campus, because that's a service that's not in high demand in terms of having everyone use it. And I yield to Scott.
Howdy, just really quick. We spent a lot of time in committee, probably about 2 hours, going through each of these numbers. All of these were unanimous votes except for one. We spent a lot of time researching these issues, and I think we have really good reasons for opposing them. In fact, those reasons are in the bill. So if you make this change, what this is going to say is that with a majority vote, the fee may oppose this increase because yada 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 does not justify the requested increase. And then 1 sentence later, the SGA supports the increase in the fee. That doesn't make any sense. Administrators are going to get this, and they're going to say, "Look, what the heck are these guys doing? They gave all these reasons not to support the fee, and now they're saying they support it." That doesn't make any sense. We're going to have to take this bill and write a report with all of the different reasons we have for opposing these fees. And it's not really going to make much, we're not really going to be able to do that if the bill says we support this, but this is why we oppose it, and then we have to make that into a report. It's not going to work. But I think we had very good reasons for opposing each one of these fees. We had a question and answer period where anyone could have asked about any of these reasons, and so I don't think it makes any sense to pass this amendment. And with that, I move for previous question.
Motion has been made for previous question. Do I see a second? I see multiple seconds. All in favor of the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
You can share the ayes. Do you have that? We'll take previous question. All in favor of the Vasut amendment, which changes the 3 oppositions to supports, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
The chair will call his own division. All in favor, please stand. Chairs, please help us count. Please make your decision quickly and stick to it until we're done counting. All right, that's 24. All opposed, please stand. Okay, this amendment will say, before we return to debate on the original motion, that Chair Harris did raise a good point, and I do want to clarify this for Senate going forward. The following types of amendments are out of order. Number 2 is one that merely makes the adoption of the amended question equivalent to a rejection of the original motion, which does mean that if you completely reverse the bill 180 degrees, then that is equivalent to a rejection of the bill, so it's out of order because what you would then presumably do is just vote it down. So now in a particular bill like this, where we have to take an opinion, then my ruling would be that it would still be in order because an opinion is required. It's not just a motion being made from neutral ground. So anyways, that's my interpretation, but that is a good point, Chair Harris. With that, we return to debate on the original motion with 12 minutes remaining. With that, we'll see, Senator Pursuit still has the floor debating against.
Yield, let's switch to 4.
Okay, with that, debate 4, Senator Strube, you have it.
Yeah, kind of already said some stuff, but basically, just because we don't raise these fees doesn't mean that these people don't still get money. They still get the same amount of fee that we've been paying all along. It just means that they don't get anything additional. And it also doesn't mean that they can't, as Thomas said, look for another source for the funding. Many times, you know, we may not raise the fee, and they find a way to pay for it. Look at SGA Convocation. That thing got paid for somehow. And I yielded to McNutt.
Okay, Thomas McNutt, Student Services. Just understand, in addition to just having confidence in the process that we all approved, okay, in addition to the overwhelming majority opinions in this, in addition to the confidence in the process, please understand nobody's losing money here. We're not cutting anyone's money. No one's going to be wondering how they keep their doors open or how they keep helping students. Second of all, every one of these people's revenue is going up this year because of increased enrollment. And so right now they're able to offer a service that is parallel to the income that they are receiving. Now, more students are coming, so more is required of them. But with new students comes the exact same amount of revenue. So no one's losing money, and no services that are offered now will go down. With that, I will yield to Senator Pursuit.
Howdy, Cody Pursuit off campus. I'm primarily for this just because I'm opposed to REC and the other one. So I'm not going to oppose this bill just because my amendment failed. If you know, in a legislative body, sometimes amendments are made to test the water in the air. Okay, clearly you oppose that, so you're in favor of this bill as is. And so I'll yield to that. I'll go in favor of this as is. I at least wanted to try that. If this gets vetoed, just watch out for that. But I'm in favor of this because I'm primarily opposed to REC. Yield to anybody? Yield to the floor.
Okay, with that, do I see debate against the bill? Going once, going twice, seeing none, chair needs to be one-sided, we'll close debate, move into a period of voting, we'll take a clicker vote. Motion has been made for a voice vote. I don't see any seconds, so, I see seconds.
It has to be voice or roll anyways.
Right, well, clicker is, I think, considered, because of it's the fee bill.
Yes. It doesn't say clicker.
Okay. I thought we were counting clickers as roll calls because your name is attached.
I'll yield. If that's your interpretation, I'll yield.
Okay.
Then I move for a roll call vote, please.
Motion has been made.
A true roll call vote.
A true roll call vote. Standing roll call. You're right. Your motion was in order. It was seconded. All in favor of a voice vote, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay. Making sure that fails. Are we still making it? So now it's a roll call vote. Is that correct?
Yeah. Point of order, yeah, I'm going to make a motion for a roll call vote, which I thought was a privileged motion anyway, but that's...
Okay, motion's been made for a roll call vote, seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Making sure that passes. We'll now take a roll call vote. Amanda, if you could please call that. If you, yes, state your point. You're right, you're absolutely right, thank you. Senate, please stay in order. We have to... So if you're voting for the bill as is, which opposes all increases in fees.
Myself, for. Chair Bain.
For.
Chair Smith.
For.
Chair Barber.
Abstain.
Chair Nidegger. Chair McNutt.
For.
Chair Harris.
For.
Senators Hauser, 4. Galden.
4.
Branson. Thornburg. Melancon.
4.
Lasso Vica. 4. Gonzalez. Riley.
4.
Robertson.
4.
S. Brown.
4.
Reeves.
4.
Heaver. Strickland. Miller.
4.
Young.
4.
Jenkarek.
Abstain.
Bowen.
4.
Spencer.
4.
Canoe.
4.
Mandry. Simon. 4. Chen. Hutchison. Abstain. Casada.
Yes.
Pittman.
Abstain.
Melendez. Yes. Toops.
4.
Moore Van Dyke. 4. Nelson.
Against.
Altendorf.
4.
Nadinger. Kingsbury.
4.
Jessup.
4.
King. 4. Morris. 4. Kelly.
4.
Hernandez.
Against.
Sosa.
4.
Berry.
Against.
Hernandez. 4. Lahutsky. Struble.
4.
Markowski.
4.
Bonner. T. Brown.
4.
Castilleja. 4. Syrier. Esparza.
Abstain.
Heath. 4. Hilton. 4. Cleckley.
Against.
Basut.
4.
Lawson. Luce.
4.
Murad. 4. Davis.
4.
Roberts. Shutt. 4. Hill. 4. L. Sullivan. 4. R. Sullivan. Van Dyne.
Same.
Frisco. Womack.
Against.
Adams.
4.
Penniman.
4.
Alright, we'll get that tallied up. In the meantime, SB 6409. Oh, yes.
Mr. Speaker, I move to deviate from the agenda and consider the constitutional amendment now.
Motion has been made to deviate from the agenda to consider the constitutional amendment. It's been seconded. All in favor of deviating, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Make sure the nays have that. We'll move to 6409, the student billing penalty fee bill. Sorry? Can't call it that. On this last one? Sabine Palace? Yeah, we have, yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, alright, sorry. Penalty, student billing penalty fee bill. Please start with your presentation.
Howdy.
Howdy.
This is the bill that talks about, you owe money to student business services, the late fee that they can charge you. The situation came up where a student was given their refund, so they processed it, and then a few days after they were given their refund, a 3-cent charge was added back onto their bill, and then they didn't realize that it was a 3-cent charge. The 3-cent charge kept adding up and multiplying with the late penalty fee, and it ended up coming out to like $100 and something by the time they paid it. So this just says if your fee that you owe is under $10, that they should consider a sliding scale so that late penalty fee can't come up that high and really hurt you in the long run.
Okay. Questions? Well, seeing none, shall we close question and answer? Before we move into a period of debate, I'll make the body aware that the fee bill passed, 44 for, 7 against, with 7 abstentions. So that passed. With that, debate for the billing penalty bill. Debate for Senator Womack.
It's a great bill. I've definitely been in this situation before. It's a small change. It's a little change that could do a lot of good for some people. I think this is a good job, good catch by Chris. No reason to vote against this bill.
With that, debate against. Going once, going twice, Seeing none, chair deems debate one-sided. We'll close debate. We'll move into a period of voting on this bill. Motion is made for a voice vote. Do I see seconded? All in favor of voice vote, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Opinion chair, the ayes do have it. We'll take a voice vote. All in favor of passing SB 6409, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Opinion chair, that passes unanimously. Okay. With that, SB 6411, Degree Plan Initiative Bill. We have 10 minutes starting now.
Howdy. This bill, it will create a student degree advising committee. What it will do is it will work underneath Dr. Lisa Crumpton-Young. It will create a student initiative where we will work with students at new student conferences to help decide their majors, plan their classes if they're going to take it in their first semester here at A&M. The university advising is really strapped right now. They can't hire any more advisors. If students who do become part of this advising committee, they will be nationally certified. It'll go on their resume. It's a tangible way of students give back to their fellow students. I'd really like to use the AA committee during the summer if senators are able to be up here. I'm going to rag on Jeff because he was able to have his exec council up here the entire summer this past year, able to deal with issues, and I would like to be able to do the same thing as well. And Dr. Lisa Crumpton-Young has already fronted us the money and also the personnel needed to pull this off, so I think this is a great idea for students to get back to students.
Questions? Going once, going twice, seeing none. We'll move to period of debate. Debate 4. Chair Bang.
Chair Bang, rules and I think it's a great idea to have other students who've kind of been there, know the ins and the outs, and say, you know, like, this is what it says here, but this has been my experience, and really help them advise. I think it's a great idea, peer-to-peer, both of them.
Okay, thank you. Debate against? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, chair deems debate one-sided. We'll close the debate. We'll move into a period of voting on SB 6411. With seeing none, motion's been made for a voice vote. You guys see second? Second. All in favor of voice vote, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Any opinion in the chair? The ayes have that again. We'll take a voice vote. All in favor of passing SB 6411, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Opinion in the chair, that passes. With that, SB 6427, syllabi availability bills.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to change syllabi to syllabus.
Yeah, okay. Seeing no objections, we'll change syllabi to syllabus.
It's unanimous consent that the bill be considered as read.
Yes, thank you. I always forget that.
So there is a state law that says that the university has to make syllabus available to students by the 7th day of class. The original intent of that law was to provide students an opportunity to understand what class they're really signing up for before they do register. The 7th day of class is too late to add or drop that class without penalty. So we're just asking this university to go above and beyond set a policy where they make it the syllabus available to the student by at least the first day of class. I think it's a very reasonable timeline to set.
Okay. With that, questions? Going once, going twice. Seeing no questions, chair will close question and answer. We'll move to the debate. Anyone in debate wants it? Senator Suit.
I think this is just one of those plain and simple bills where everybody should have access to the syllabus by the first day. Clearly, I guess now under FERPA you have the right to review your graded materials, or so we've been told, but obviously you should have the right to review your syllabus too. So I think it makes for an educated decision.
Okay, thank you. With that, debate against. Going once, going twice. Seeing none, chair deems debate one side. We'll move into a period of voting on SB 6427. We will move into a liquor vote.
Move for voice vote.
Motion has been made for a voice vote. I see a second. Second. All in favor of the voice vote, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Opinion chair, division to call. All in favor, please stand. I'm going to address that as a point of personal preference while we're counting. Can you help me count, Chick? The question as to what is the objection to a voice vote for counting is just so that we would have record of it. That is the most common objection to taking a voice vote for a piece of legislation. 20? 29. Okay, thank you. All in favor, all opposed to a voice vote, please stand. I didn't share that, Pat. So we'll take a voice vote. So, all in favor of SB 6427, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Finish that passed unanimously. Okay, we'll move to 6B, SB 6428, the Zell Vehicle and Pedestrian Safety Bill. I believe that's Senator Spencer? No, I'm sorry, Senator Spencer.
Yeah, no.
Howdy.
Howdy.
This bill was created to address concerns that were made to the student body president, and I pass by this area every day, and it's a notable issue there. So it's just to improve safety based on a study and recommendations by an engineering firm that Transportation Services has a contract with. So Transportation Services just really just asking for an opinion of the student body, and the opinion should be to increase safety in that area.
Okay. With that, questions for the bill author? Going once, going twice, seeing no questions, we'll move to a period of debate. Debate for the bill. Anybody want to take it? Senator Spencer.
As you guys remember from last week, I hate playing Frogger. This is another case where you get to play Frogger. Only in this case, there's not a stoplight, so at least you have a fighting chance. So let's put up some stop signs and make the game a little more fair.
A debate against the bill? Going once, going twice, seeing none, chair deems debate one side. We'll move into a period of voting on the bill. Default, we have a clicker vote. Motion is debate for a voice vote. All in favor of seconded. All in favor of a voice vote, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
In the opinion of the chair, the nays do have that one. We will take a clicker vote. This is 6428. I called them like a season.
You talk real good.
Thanks, Owen. Anybody having issues? No? Okay, we'll close it. And you can ensure that passes. Yeah, SB 6429, Spence Lewis Safety Bill. This is you again.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Spence Lewis Safety Bill is addressing concerns that were brought up from some of my constituents to place stop signs where there are currently stalker pedestrian signs by Spence Lewis intersection. And the problem there is that there's a lot of confusion between the drivers and students that are passing through the crosswalk. Thank you.
Okay. With that, questions? Going once, going twice. Seeing no questions, yes, Senator Womack.
Alright, this might be a little silly. Where is Lewis Street?
Spence Lewis is between Bissell and Coke Street.
Follow-up question.
I'll refer that to Senator Jessup.
Yeah, it's by the Aggie Band drill field, like in between the band hall and lot 40, like it's that connecting street.
All right. Great, thank you. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Any further questions? Going once, going twice, seeing none, chair will close question and answer, move to period of debate. In favor of the bill? Is that in favor? Senator Casada? Casada. Yes? Thank you.
Yeah, I've personally crossed that street many times, and it's not a friendly street to cross. So anything that will keep me from getting my car
And just as a friendly reminder, if you're debating for, raise your hand like that. Anyways, debate against, Senator Womack.
Howdy. I'm a little concerned that we're just kind of slapping some of these bills and light speed through and not really thinking about it. I do want everyone to think about the street, and now that I understand where it's at, I was kind of confused about which one was Lewis Street. Google Maps is not really great for campus. That is a street that people drive on a lot more than they cross on. Right? There's one parking lot over there. There is a danger that we might hit a couple people in the van, but that's really not too much of a concern. You guys are really sharp with your formations. I'm sure you can jump out of the way. But no, in all seriousness, this is not a joke. I do think we need to consider what we're asking. That's going to be an additional stop that we're going to have to make people go up and down that street. I've crossed that street to get to whatever that freshman lot is there on the south side. I've crossed there sometimes, and it's not hard to not get hit by a car, but it is going to be a major consternation. Imagine if every single time a student stops at that stop sign, and there was a little plaque under that stop sign that said, "Brought to you by Student Senate," right? I'm not really sure people would be very thrilled that we created an extra hurdle. If anyone's tried to get through campus before, I can tell you, with the closing of Joe Rao, with additional stop signs, with construction, it's getting pretty hard to move through campus. So I want everyone to think, yeah, it's just 5 seconds to stop. But also think it's not just 5 seconds, which I do think is a legitimate concern, especially because no one's provided any data that people are getting hit with cars or almost getting hit with cars. That's a really big concern. So before we introduce this new hurdle, let's really think about who exactly is going to be saved by this. But most importantly, and the thing that I'm really thinking about, who has seen somebody pulled over by a cop on that side of campus? Anybody? Most of you have, I guarantee you, if you just weren't paying attention. Maybe have some coffee before class. But every single week, without fail, you can see freshman girls crying on the side of the road because they did not come to a complete stop behind a stop sign over there on the south side by Southside Garage. So again, this is another stop sign where people might roll through it a little bit and get tickets. Anyway, these are two legitimate concerns that I really do want you to think about. If you have strong objections and you think someone's going to get hit by a car and we need this traffic safety, then by all means vote for it. But I know with my experience on this campus, that's not a major concern. Certainly not enough to change traffic patterns to make it longer and harder to get through campus, which is a real impact versus, from what I'm perceiving right now without the lack of data, an imaginary concern where people are getting hit by cars. And third, most importantly, this is another opportunity for campus police to stick us with some more tickets. So really think about what you're doing before you just fly this bill through.
Okay, with that, debate for Chair Barber. Sorry.
Yeah, Drew Barber. Real fast, I went back into that. I lived on the south side, and I'm all for this bill from a point of view of a driver, because I drive that maybe once a day, and I don't stop there for pedestrians. So, Quesada, Mr. Quesada, if I've run over you, Mr. Jessup, if I've run over any of your what's the correct term now? Anti-dance, yes. I apologize for that, but I'm saying that from, there is a real issue here, to be honest with you, and I do echo your concerns that we've got a lot of bills, we may just be pushing bills through, and I would encourage y'all to slow down and look at what we're doing here. But that is a legitimate concern. There definitely needs to be a stop sign here. If you haven't figured out that the cops like to chill back by the golf course, you may want to wake up and start stopping the stop sign. With that, I'll move for previous question.
Motion's been made for previous question. Do I see a second? Multiple seconds. All in favor of previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the PES will take previous question. So we'll move into a period of clicker voting on this piece of legislation. This is SB 6429, Spence Lewis Safety Bill.
Motion, personal privilege. Can we freeze the screen?
We can do that if there are no objections.
For the pure purpose?
It happens. Totally.
Point of information. What's the purpose of freezing the screen?
So the purpose of freezing the screen would be so that people aren't influenced by one another's votes, so they don't see what other people are voting.
Thank you.
Your polls are open. Click your clicker. See if you get a little triple green beat. Right after we get clickers, I get this job, and I don't get to play with it. Everybody good? Looks like it. Okay. Yep. And that passes. Ready? Spence Lewis. All right. Next up, SB 6430. Hold on to your seats. SGA Constitution Modernization Amendment. Without objection, we will consider this bill as read.
I'm going to go ahead and do a voice vote on this one. That's okay.
Just wait till I start making
please hold young as a sponsor.
Can we do it?
Me up, coach. Howdy.
Howdy.
All right, you paying attention? Here we go. All right. What we did in committee, that's all I'm going to talk about. I don't want to take too much of your time. We fixed a lot of small things, nothing too massive. I want to call your attention to a few things. The biggest issue that we ran across with this change was with the judicial court. They were concerned about the student senate being able to pass rules of procedure by a majority vote with a 2/3 override. They were concerned about that. They thought that vote was a little too easy. So that was what we had a lot of haggling at the committee level about. Pleased to say that we reached a compromise between the authors, the RR committee, Chief Justice Rowe, and SVP Pickering. So what we've got here now is that rules of procedure and rules of evidence are 2/3 vote with a 3/4 override. See what I mean? Higher vote count. No big deal, no biggie. Moving along, one thing that we noticed through this process was that the attendance policies that Senate had and that J-Court had, well, they might not be authorized by the Constitution because removal procedures just talks about impeachment. So to fix that, to make sure that there was no ambiguity that we can have an attendance policy, we added several clauses in there about an attendance policy. You can see that on page 23 where we added the main clause. Moving along. The only massive change beyond that, I believe, was we removed the requirement in the Constitution that the Student Senate survey 0.005, well, half of 1% of the student body for student fees. I know that Scott just read you guys off some of those reports that we just did for this bill. The reason why we're removing that is we don't want the term survey used in the Constitution. Okay, there's going to be 2 words to remember. Votes of the Student Senate and referendums. That is how we voice student opinion. It's not through surveys because they're non-scientific. Okay? So that's why we took it out of there. It was 250 people served no purpose. I'm sorry, Cole Clemens, if you're watching this right now. I voted against that, I think, in the 60 session. Check my voting record. I'm taking it out now. Beyond that, there shouldn't really be, correct me if I'm wrong, was there any massive change that we made besides that?
The other change was the one about the date.
Okay, the Constitution, good point. The constitutional amendment has been changed to go into effect from March 1st to February 20th. Why? Because we wanted to make the amendment take effect right before elections. So that when you have an election fine come through or a violation, you go to the judicial court, you get the protections of Article 10, which is no unreasonable fines, you have to have fair process in J-Court, etc. So we're not trying to do anything sneaky. Exec knows about it. Everybody knows about it. There should be no amendments, hopefully, except for the one that we're going to make. And let me tell you what it is. I'll explain it to them, but I want to make sure anytime we do something like this at the last second, there's 14 grammatical changes. It happens.
We put them in there to make sure you're paying attention.
Yes. The key thing is, about half of these were from whenever we changed the Constitution to say February 20th, well, there were like 3 cross-references that we didn't do. We're going to change those to February 19th and 20th so they take effect. There's things like, well, we meant to put not, and instead be got in there somehow. So you could do something when we were expressly trying to say that you could. So if that happened at the committee stage, that's not a product of the 12 readings that this had, that's a product of the last week. So that's 14 small changes that we're going to make, and then that's it. None of these will alter drastically the intent of this bill. They're just meant to correct those mistakes. So with that,
we're also changing the name to SBA instead of SGA. So
kidding, that's not happening. A few things that are not happening. This amendment, and maybe this has come through the grapevine. Let me switch that. This amendment is not intended to touch how we do our vote totals for elections. This is not intended to do away with runoffs. That makes sense. We're not changing any of that stuff. So if you've heard something like that, we're not trying to do that. So I'm trying to think real quick before I close this out if there's anything more to be said about this. And the only thing that comes to mind is we have read this thing so many times. I've read this thing maybe 15 or 16 times. I sat in the office the other day for 3 hours going through it word by word, primarily to make sure that we amended the correct version of the Constitution. All of that audit passed. I would urge you to support this, and unless my co-authors have anything else to say, questions?
Oh, Senator Heath wanted to be added as a sponsor.
Sure. If you want to sponsor it, be my guest.
No.
No.
No exec council.
No exec council. Yes. Go for it, Amanda. Anybody? Okay, man. Want to hold it? Yeah, go for it, Paul.
I just want to say that we really appreciate all the trust that y'all put into us, and as well as all the oversight and watching and looking and seeing, making sure. I gotta give it to Cody though. Cody was really the main drive behind this. I mean, things as important as, you know, your rights as a student are now inside of SGA, and that's a huge thing for students. Things like, you know, for the Judicial Council, things that will help them become more professional and really be able to govern, or not govern, I apologize, to decipher and read the code is huge. So this is a massive undertaking by the RR committee. I want to say thanks to everybody who's up here, and this is going to be really good for the future. So, gigging, Cody.
We're also having a party on February 20th to commemorate the new Constitution.
Okay.
Where will it be? Alabama.
Yield to the floor, Mr. Speaker.
All right. With that, please regain order. Senator Shinkarik.
Does this bill still have a line item veto in it for the student body president?
It does. This bill has a line item veto only for the appropriation bills. Only for the appropriation bills. Does that make sense? This line item doesn't apply to regular Senate legislation. It's just for line items on our budget bills. Okay? I assume everybody knows what a line item is, but if not, let me, in the interest of clarity, line item just means that if you have 4 line items on a budget and we pass it, instead of just having to sign off on all 4 or no 4, he can veto one of them, and then the other 3 will pass in. We will only consider a veto of that one little bitty thing. So, thank you. Good question.
Further questions? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none, Chair will close question and answer. Move into a period of debate, and I will see Senator Massoud first.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Cody Massoud off campus. I'm going to say something real quick. We have that amendment, 14 things to change, and I would move, Mr. Speaker, that the formal amendment that's filed with the chair be considered. This will just fix grammar.
Right. Okay. And without objection, we will consider that amendment as having been read.
Has it been sent to the Senate? Can we get it sent?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I can read it.
Okay. Oh yeah. Just let us know.
Okay. Are you ready?
Write it down.
Page 3, Article 1, Section 2, insert full-time and part-time struck out between all and students. Page 7, Article 2, Section 2, subsection D, subdivision 1, first line, underline the process above. On page 8, Article 2, Section 3, subsection L, last line, insert not between May and B. On page 11, Article 3, Section 2, subsection B, last line, insert academic between spring and semester. On page 18, Article 4, Section 2, subsections C, subdivisions 1 and 2, on both of those replace March 1st with February 19th. On page 19, Article 4, Sec 2, subsec E, insert new between A and justice. Page 19, Article 4, Section 3, subsection B, subdivision L, Roman numeral I, replace semicolon, space, or, comma, with semicolon, space, and, comma. On page 20, Article 4, Section 3, subsection B, subdivision code, first line, insert an active between B and by. Last 4, guys. On page 25, Article 8, Section 2, subsection B, replace March 1st, February 19th. Page 28, subsection E on that page, replace by the Chief Justice with to the Chief Justice. Page 29, subsection A on that page, insert, comma, under the rules of procedures, comma, between statutes and or. And lastly, on page 30, Article 10, Section 6, subsection A, subdivision 1, insert in accordance with the statutes between injunction and for. That should be sent out. That's on the videotape now. Make sure that that's in the record permanently so we don't screw that up.
All right. So with that debate for the amendment, I will see you first.
Okay. Every single one of those was just grammar. Okay. Sorry to have to do that. I yield. That's basically it.
Okay. With that, guys, is there any debate against that amendment? Going once, going twice, seeing none, chair deems debate one sided. We will take a vote on the amendment. Motion is made for a voice vote on the amendment. Seconded. All in favor of a voice vote, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We'll take a voice vote. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The amendment passes. All right. With that, we are return to debate. Senator Pursuit, you still have the floor.
Okay, Mr. Speaker.
State your point.
I have an amendment.
That he has the, I gave him the floor already, so you gotta wait till he's finished. Okay.
I'll just say that the bill as is should not need to be amended, primarily for this reason. So go ahead and preempt that. We had a committee process.
Please maintain order.
We had a committee process that was entirely open and transparent. This bill was before you for 28 days before today. So if there's a major, now if it's do or die, SGA is going to go in the tanker, then yeah, let's consider it. We'll fix it. But I've read this, Mark's read this, Scott's read this, Paul's read this, everybody has looked at this, Robert's read this, Ben's read this. And we are all in agreement on the final verbiage here. So I would urge you to support it. I'm not necessarily going to argue about what the amendment is. I don't know what it is. I'm very intrigued by that. I'm going to kill a little bit more time to allow Jody to get that ready out of professional courtesy here. But I will say this. This amendment is intended to be the last one. That's the intention. Will that ever be the case? No. Eventually, there might have to be a time when we have to clean this up, and we have to really look at this from a holistic picture again. But I hope that time is a long time in the future, and not any time this year or next, or any time in the immediate future. So I will. Are you good?
Would be appropriate.
Yield the floor.
Okay. Time has been yielded. Chair Harris, I see your motion.
Okay. I would like to amend, and this has been received, I believe, by Student Senate 64.
Okay, it's been being sent out.
I would like to amend under enacted 3, section 2, subsection A, strike the word majority and add the word plurality. Plurality. I apologize. Under enacted 4, section 2, I would like to add subsection I and say enacting by statute procedures for breaking of ties in all student elections.
Okay, and does that complete your amendment?
That completes the amendment.
That completes the amendment. All right. With that, is there a second for this amendment? It's been seconded, Senator Kauser. So with that, Senator Harris, I will recognize you first for debate. And you have a minute and a half, or 2.5 minutes, I'm sorry.
Okay, guys. First of all, a lot of people are wondering why I'm bringing this amendment to the floor. This was something that was talked in committee. Unfortunately, it did not pass out of committee the way that some of us would have liked to see it pass. So I'm bringing it to the Senate to let the Senate decide. Basically, thank God. Basically, we don't believe that the runoff election is a fair representation of the student body at Texas A&M University. What happens in the runoff is about, I don't know the exact numbers, but a small fraction of the student body votes. You have between 11 and 15,000 people vote in the general election, whereas, in the runoff, it's not the student body, it's mostly people who have a vested interest in those campaigns. And because the normal student body doesn't even know what the runoff is. I hear people last year when this happened, I heard people saying, why are they still out here? That, we voted all that, this is over. They don't understand. So, guys, we've got to consider this. Yes, we want it to be we want this to be a democracy. We want this to work. We want to be representatives of the students. But guys, if the students aren't voting, then it's not a correct procedure for us to be following. Another thing, guys, this costs money. To run a runoff election costs the students money. And in my opinion, if it's not representing the students, it's costing them money. They don't like it. They don't like to see us out there any more than we're already out there. Students hate elections. Guys, let's get this over with. Let's get our business taken care of as quickly as possible, and let's just get this done. Grades. This is such an important point. I brought this up earlier in the meeting. People, when they're going to class, they're taking tests. They don't want to have to walk around 10 signs. So, in conclusion to this, voting for this will cut cost, hopefully raise grades, make it a more legitimate elections at Texas A&M University, and best of all, the students are all for it. Thanks, and you.
I will see, Chair Bain has debate against first.
Chair Bain, I yield the floor to Senator Womack. Howdy, Mark Womack, off campus. Okay, this is interesting. I don't agree with anything that was just said. I don't think students inherently hate elections. I think obviously we're the proof that they don't. If you hate elections, don't vote in them, or just don't pay attention to them, or complain about them to your friends. Do whatever you want. But the simple fact is, with runoff elections, it's very important to have runoff elections, because if we don't, let's say for example last year, right? We have 4 student body candidates, right? And in years before that, we've had a lot. We've had 5, 6. One year there were 7 student body president candidates. That means you can get elected with 15% of the vote. Is anybody really comfortable with that? I know you say students hate elections or whatever. To give you another scenario, I respect the hell out of the court, but imagine in that scenario, the court could just pick the student body president, and that would be all there is, right? 1,500 votes, and that's all it takes, right? Greek life, for those of you who are on the other side, Greek life, if IFC got together, they get their 1,500 votes together, and hey, they've got a student body president, right? This is a terribly not good idea. I understand that we want to shorten campaigns, and we've done that over the years. There's been a reduction, and that's important. But let's think long and hard before we dramatically train the landscape. I was somebody who was actually impacted by this change. When I ran for junior Yale leader, this amendment would have helped me maybe get in the runoffs or something. Well, I guess Kyle actually benefits from more than I would. But so I'm not coming at this from somebody who doesn't know about running elections or running a campaign, but I'm telling you guys, this dramatically increases the problems that we're going to face when 15%, no more than 20% of people, even this last election, you got 25% of people, a quarter of the campus, less than that, deciding who student body president is. This is a major change for leadership, and it is not one that we need to make.
Well, I'll say this simply, all right? In a government, the executive must be elected by a majority.
30 seconds.
In our government, the executive must be elected by a majority. Legitimacy in student government flows from elections. Majority is the only way that a student body president can ever say that I represent the majority of students. You take away runoffs, you end that. I'm absolutely unequivocally opposed to this amendment. As the architect of this entire constitutional amendment, this has never been brought to me. And I urge that you oppose it. And I yield the floor and move to previous question.
Hold on. We had a couple of points that I'll see first that I believe are privileged. Senator Van Dyke was first mentioned.
I just want to know, does this amendment affect any of the other positions in the election or just student body president?
I will direct that to Chair Harris.
Because this is the Constitution strictly for the Student Government Association, and it is in a section that deals only with the executive branch, it would only affect this right here. What we're doing would only affect the student body president. We could then make changes reflective to that in the election regulations if this body so chooses.
Okay, Chair Harris, I believe you had a point.
Withdrawn.
Okay, withdrawn. Hutchinson, mentions.
How often is it that the candidate who gets a plurality in the original election does not win the runoff election? Does that happen?
I would say yes, it does happen.
It happened 2 years ago.
Yes, that does happen. With that, motion has been made for previous question. Is there a second for motion for previous question? It's okay. There's a second. All in favor of previous question on Chair Harris's amendment, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay. Okay, we will continue debate. With that, debate 4. I will see Senator Bowen first.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Okay. My debate. Okay, we can talk about majorities. We can talk about like legitimacy. How often does the person who wins the primary actually go on to the runoff? I've only seen one election in the entire time I've been here where that did not happen. But really, the reason I'm for this has nothing to do with any of those. The reason I'm for this is because the runoff is the single dirtiest thing I've ever seen on campus. Every time I get to elections and I see the SVP candidates talk about uniting campus, talk about all of the great things they want to do, talk about all of the amazing things that we're going to see from them in the next year in SGA. And then runoffs happen. That's when people start getting together. They start making backroom deals. They start making deals to put people on exec. A student body president should be running on their own merit alone. They should never have to make a runoff deal in order to get elected. They should never have to go around backstabbing, trash-talking people like I've seen in every single election since I've been here. Every single one. And this needs to stop. We're way better than this. I do not want to see Aggies tearing each other down. I don't want to see a system that encourages people to do that, and that's what the runoff does right now. And with that, I yield to, where the chair sit?
He is now.
Yeah.
Bro.
I'll yield to Senator Lewis.
All right, so the amendment on the floor isn't anything crazy. It's not anything that we haven't seen before. How many of y'all picked up a newspaper during an election cycle in recent years? All right, so there are many elections that are run off a plurality system. Let's look at the 2006 gubernatorial election. Our governor was elected and didn't get the majority of the vote, but he got the most votes. When you look in the United States, many of our United States elections are run off this plurality system. It's not anything crazy or out of ordinary. So if it's good enough to elect, the most powerful people in our country, then it's good enough for our small student body election. Let's look at the past student body election. In the past student body election, President Pickering won the first election and he won the second one. So it's not going to drastically and dramatically change the outcomes of the elections. And then finally, I'd like to add that, following off that example, if this policy had been different, it wouldn't have dramatically changed the outcome of the elections. What it does do is that in certain circumstances, it does prevent these backroom deals and these good old boy politics and allows the students' voices to be properly represented.
Okay, hold on just a second. I gotta get caught up on my counts here. And then counselor, you're forward, right? Okay, great. Okay, with that, we'll see Senator Pursuit debate against.
Howdy. Okay, once again, all right. We're throwing out these things about gubernatorial, this, that, and the other. President United. Okay, let me go back to this. Let's run some numbers. Let's pause here and let's think rational. 10 candidates for student body president. Okay. Candidate A, 1 vote. Candidate B, 2 votes. And then everybody's tied for 2 votes. Candidate C, or let's say candidate 10, has 3 votes. 1 more than everybody else. He's student body president. 3 out of that could be 10%, people. That's borderline ridiculous. Whenever a student body president can be elected with 10% of the vote, how is that legitimate at all? Where's the legitimacy? Do you not see that legitimacy flows from majority? From majority.
Okay, hold on.
Point of information.
State your point.
What percentage of the students, the student body votes in the elections to begin with?
I will have officially find that out for you. That is dilatory. I will uphold that. Thank you.
All right, I have the floor. No POIs, please. Thank you. Let me say this. I have been here for a very long time. I have seen and heard of student body president elections that go the other way, where somebody gets second place in an election, comes into the runoff, and when you compare the two, they come out on top. Case in point, Jim Carlson. Jim Carlson was elected that way. Jim Carlson was elected that way. Let me tell you something. This amendment, okay, I can see the noble cause of trying to get rid of the campaign times. That's noble. I agree. We can do that another way. We can do that through the statutory system, through the election regs, rather than the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, I yield to Senator Womack.
Hi, Mark Womack. Just really 2 quick points. First and foremost, I cannot stress enough. Y'all, I know it's hard to deal with sometimes, but student government really doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of authority, okay? The only authority that the student body president has at all is that a majority of people voted for him. That is what he has. That's it. That is literally the only authority that's granted him. If you have 15% of students picking the student body president, he might as well be a figurehead. SGA might as well be a figurehead, because all we have is a plurality of students, not a plurality, a majority of students voting for one person.
15 seconds.
On these issues of mysterious backroom deals, I take offense to this. I've worked for many of these campaigns, and until people are ready to name names, don't hold any weight to this sort of suspicion. I find it pretty I supported Jeff Pickering adamantly in the run and the post whatever run elections. Jeff rejected my application 3 times for exec council. So don't go around suspecting that there's some sort of shady backroom deals. I've been in those meetings. I've sat on exec council, and I find it hard to believe that people would accuse people like that of these shady backroom mysterious deals. It doesn't happen. We have to preserve the majority. This is not the way to deal with this ambush.
Point of personal preference.
State your point.
Can we suggest that people not use points of information to interrupt speakers?
I will reiterate your suggestion so that the body knows what you said. and the senator has asked that people not use points of information out of respect. So, and with that, Chair Smith, debate 4.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Just from a Senate perspective, for the past 2 years that I have been elected to this body, I have gone out, I have spoken to student organizations, I have spoken to my friends, I have spoken to classes, I'm not supposed to, but I still do it anyway. I think that when I go out there and I get those votes, and the first time that the vote ballot is read, when I was elected to my position, that was the only legitimacy I needed to become a senator to represent my students that I am representing. And I am thoroughly grateful that process is quick and smooth, and that's all the time I need. Now, as far as the student body elections go, if you are a candidate, I'm use Jeff as an example. His team last year was phenomenal. They got out there. They were the first ones. They were the first place in the first elections, and they beat the hell out of the competition in the second election. That's why he is here. So, and even if he were to have the runoffs, he would still be our SVP because he got the plurality of the votes. So technically, it wouldn't matter. And if you were to get out there as a candidate, and if you motivate your campaign team, and you're able to reach the most number of students, get them informed of what you're about, what you're going to do for them, I think that if you are able to get the most number of votes the first time around, and the most number of students know this, then I think that Jeff makes you #1 candidate, and therefore the representative of the student body, and therefore I yield the floor. You're here.
I yield the council.
I mean, as active members of the student body, we all understand how difficult it is just to get people to vote in the first election. The fact that we're going to try to get more students to come in the primary or the second election is just ridiculous. I mean, the percentage of students that actually vote in the second election is ridiculously small. It's a waste of student time. It's a waste of campaign participants' time. It's just not a good idea at all. We're better off getting rid of it and going to a one-vote system.
30 seconds.
All right, guys, real quick. Nobody in this room was elected by a majority of your caucus. Nobody, well, maybe the core, okay. But listen, but real quickly, guys, most of us weren't elected by a majority. That doesn't mean that you're not the representatives of your caucus. It doesn't mean that the Senate can't represent the students here at Texas A&M.
I have to call Senator Womack out of order. I've heard you audibly. I can make out your words. You may continue.
Yeah, guys, just I yield to back to Luke, I guess. I yield to the floor.
Well, you had like 2 seconds anyways. Again, it's Chair Bain.
Alright, Chair Bain, rules and regs. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of a show called West Wing, but it's a smart show on television. President Bartlett, running for his re-election campaign, says, why should we talk down to the American public? Why do we have to get down on the floor and look at them and say, oh, I'm going to speak your language? Why not let them show them that an educated person can be there to lead? That's the exact same thing that people are saying about campaign legitimacy. Just because Texas A&M students, or you have a friend who says, man, I hate that it's campaign week, or you've got people who say, you know what, I'm going to avoid Academic Plaza because there's campaign signs, you are basically telling them that your seat does not matter. If you really do believe that campaign is an illegitimate way to become into this office, then I would ask you to just leave, vacate your position, so that we can have people in here who do want to be here, who do want to work for students, and who want students to vote for them inside of their position. Now, last year we had 13,000 students vote in the primary election, approximately, give or take. My numbers might be a little bit off. In the runoff election, we had 10,000 students who still cared. This is not 5 people. This is not the backroom dealers who are saying, you know what, I just want my boy to win because I'm going to vote for him. No, these are legitimate students who care about student government, who we are asking them to help us care about student government. And I don't know why you would ever want to, elect a single executive by a plurality. It has to be a majority. It has to be a majority. Senator Womack.
Last thing I'm going to say, I apologize for being out of order. I'm really passionate about this. The last thing I'm going to say is, guys, if you ever thought student government or student body president elections were going to be a popularity contest, my God, you're asking for a popularity contest right now. I've been here for 2 whole elections. I've been here for 3 elections. I've seen 4 of these, 5 of these, however many it's been. Cody's seen God knows how many. I can tell you right now, this is going to turn into a popularity contest where the person that strikes the hardest with the most number of, forgive me, sorority girls and core guys or whatever it's going to take, get out there, get the votes early, and it's going to wrap up. You say this doesn't happen. 1 in 3 elections, 2 out of the last 6 elections, the person going into runoffs under came out on top. This is a really big concern, and I'm telling you guys, we're going to completely defunct this into a popularity contest where the person that can strike the most with the most number of troops and the fancy slogan, not necessarily the greatest ideas, is going to win student body president. God help us when that day happens.
There are 5 seconds remaining in debate for Senator Fleckley.
Withdrawn.
Withdrawn. Senator Kauser.
Withdrawn.
Withdrawn. Senator Harris. Or Chair Harris. 5 seconds.
Withdrawn.
Withdrawn. There is no more debate for. Going once. Going twice. Chair deems debate one-sided. Debate is closed. We will take a vote on Chair Harris's amendment. I'm going to call for my own standing vote on this. I can do that, right? I believe so. I'm sorry. Motion has been made for a roll call vote.
Second. 1-6 and an automatic.
Right, so if we get 1-6 right now, so I need to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we got 1-6 seconds. And if you'll please take a roll call vote. The Harris amendment. Yes, hold on. Yeah, before we start voting, I want, hold up, everybody be quiet. Okay. I want to be clear what we're voting for. If you vote for the Harris amendment, Chair Harris, tell them what they're voting for.
If you vote for the amendment, you are voting to make the student body election, instead of majority, it would be it'd just be whoever's the first one in the general election, that's the person that gets it, and you would also be voting for basically a clause in there that says if you tie, this is what happens.
Okay, there you go.
So it gets rid of runoff.
State your point. Say that again.
So it gets rid of runoff.
It does. It gets rid of runoffs, as I understand it.
Yes,
Student body
that's
president.
right.
That's okay. That's okay. All right. So everybody knows what they're voting for, and please return to order right now. And Amanda will start the
Point of information.
State your point.
What if hypothetically there was a tie? What would we do?
I'll yield that to Scott
The
Bowen.
amendment also has a line in there that says that the Senate has the authority to provide procedures for breaking ties. So what that really means is that there would be something in the election regulations that would talk about what happens in a tie, and there already is.
Okay.
Which is?
Yeah, what is it currently in the election regulations?
Currently in the election regulations, if there's a tie for any race after the runoff, it goes back to the student senate who decides.
So you're not voting. Can I clarify?
Yes.
You're not voting to make it that way. It is already that way.
It is already.
It is already that. That's correct.
You're not giving the student body, or excuse me, you're not giving the student senate the power to decide the race.
Well, if in the event of a tie, but that's already currently the case.
That's not what you're voting.
Yes. So does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. All right. With that, please return to order. Amanda is going to go ahead and call the vote.
All right. For the Harris amendment, myself against. Chair James.
Against.
Chair Smith.
For.
Chair Barger.
Abstain.
Chair Nidegger. Chair Nidegger. Chair McNutt.
For.
Chair Harris.
4.
Kauser.
4.
Galden.
4.
Ransom. Thornburg. Melancon.
Against.
Lastovica. Gonzalez. Riley.
Abstain.
Robertson.
Against.
Esperon.
Against.
Reeves.
Against.
Heaver. Strickland. Miller.
4.
I'm sorry.
4.
Dunn.
Against.
Jim-Carrick.
Against.
Bowen.
4.
Spencer.
Against.
Canoe.
Against.
Mandry.
Against.
Simon. Against. Chen. Hutchison. Against. Casada.
Against.
Pittman.
Against.
Melendez. Against. Toops.
Against.
Morbendike. 4. Nelson.
4.
Altendorf.
Against.
Nottinger. Kingsbury.
4.
Jessup.
4.
King. Morris. 4.
Abstain.
Barry.
Against.
Hernandez. 4. Lahetsky, Struble.
4.
Markowski.
4.
Bonner, T. Brown.
Against.
Castilleja. Against. Syria.
4.
Esparza.
Against.
Keith.
Against.
Hilton.
4.
Clefley.
4.
Massoud.
Against.
Lawson, Luce.
4.
Murad.
Against.
Davis.
Against.
Roberts, Shutt.
4.
Hill.
Against.
L. Sullivan.
Abstain.
R. Sullivan, Van Dyne.
Here, 4.
Easy.
Stay in order.
Garisco, Womack.
Against.
Adams.
Against.
Henneman.
Against.
We are not on recess. We will wait to find out the tally here. That's the big 4, okay. Just FYI, when we go back to this, we're going to be returning to debate against the bill with Chair Harris having the floor. That
I never.
You're right. You didn't. You're right. You just made a motion. You're correct. So when it goes back, we will be going to debate against. Okay. And right now, I have no one on there to debate against. Is that against? Okay.
Yes. I'm muting my speaker. Am I allowed to do that? No, they're counting the votes.
So we'll return to order. This amendment fails. 21-4, 34 against. We are returning to the bill. The most recent amendment, just so everyone is updated, is the grammatical changes. No other amendments have been made since then. With that, we are in a period of debate against, that is, okay, with floor, any debate against the constitutional amendment. Going once? Okay. Going once, going twice. Seeing none, chair deems debate one-sided. We will take a vote on constitutional amendment. And this is by default a clicker vote. Yes, you can start. Does anyone need more time? Okay, we're going to close the poll. And this requires 2/3 majority to pass. So keep on. Okay, the constitutional amendment passes. So with that, please return to order, Senate. We're still in business. We will move to SB 6431, the On-Campus Employment Procedure Bill. You may begin your presentation now.
Howdy.
Howdy.
This is the bill that discusses on-campus employment procedures. As far as getting back to a student who has applied for a position, removing the position from being listed as open on JobStripe students.use.tenma.edu. Something that was asked for about 2 sessions ago, that was passed late in the session, didn't really get advocated for. I was hoping to get it done early this time around, so we can actually get some action on it. Now the questions.
Okay. With that, questions for the bill author? Senator Cleckley.
Mark Cleckley, off campus. Senator Esparza, do you feel like this reflects what students will face in the real world job market?
I think common courtesy would dictate that you get a response back to let you know, and I think it's important only because a lot of our students here at the university depend on work study, and finding that job quickly to make sure they're complying with that program so they can receive their aid, I think it's crucial. So this doesn't apply to anything outside the university that operates on jobs for IDs, but those that are here at the university, and those that do comply with the work study programs, I think it's important that the program be made a little bit more helpful and a little bit more courteous for them.
Thank you.
Okay. Further questions? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, Chair will close period of question and answer. We are moving into a period of debate for the bill. Do I see debate for? Chair Bain.
Chair Bain, Rules and Regs. As somebody who works at a place off campus who at times puts jobs on Jobs for Aggie, it is literally within the hour that we start receiving applications. Within 24 hours, we are overwhelmed. And to be completely honest, that need and that much demand for jobs, I think that this is a great thing, because if we can have people and put them in jobs, and let them know that they're even being considered, I absolutely would say that's a good thing for this campus. So vote for it.
Thank you. Debate against the bill. Senator Cleckley.
Mark Cleckley, off campus. Have worked on campus and off campus. Currently working off campus. Worked on campus for 3 years. It was a great time. Great little bit of my college experience. And you go, and the people that are putting these jobs out there and wanting to hire student workers, they don't need another thing added to their plate. They don't need another level of bureaucracy to go through, something that they have to do when all they're looking for is a qualified candidate. If you're not a qualified student worker, you're not a qualified candidate, it's not not really their responsibility on their daily list of things to do to let you know that. And it shouldn't be up to them to tell you no. And from personal experience, it's a lot more encouraging to not hear back than to hear a no. And just thinking about if you are hearing back from jobs, understanding that you do want to know where you stand, that's when you send a follow-up email. Where's my application in for this job? And then I don't really think it's right for us as students to do this for the student worker employment, where that's not going to be reflected in the real world employment. College is all about preparing you for the quote unquote real world, the life after college. And applying for those jobs, you're not going to hear back. Personally, I apply for 3 jobs a day, and I hear back from maybe 1. And so thank God that process is almost over, and I will hopefully have a job soon, but once again off campus, where I have not heard back from every job that I applied to that I'm not qualified for. And I yield to Cody Davis.
Senator Davis off campus. He brings up a lot of good points. I don't know anyone else's story, y'all kind of know mine, but in the real world this does not happen. In fact, they'd probably not consider you if you request them to do it. He already mentioned that they receive literally hundreds of applicants per position. Now all of a sudden you're asking someone to sit down and make a phone call for the next 5 hours to call everyone that applied. If you want to go ahead and ask them to take the vacancy off the website, that's great, but this is kind of not realistic in my opinion.
20 seconds.
I yield to
college is a great place to be prepared for the workforce, and so you're not going to get a call back from every single person whenever you apply for a job. And so I feel like our students would be ill prepared for the workforce if they're expecting a call back from every single person upon graduation.
Okay, thank you. Debate for, Senator Esparza.
This bill was discussed in student services, and a change was made to that specific area because they didn't want to put a burden on the university employers. If you feel like that shouldn't be in there, I don't think it's worth killing the entire bill, but if you'd like to make an amendment, now would be the time to make an amendment to remove any parts that you disagree with. It was discussed in committee, but there is an amendment process. So, like I said, there are good parts to it. It's definitely worth considering, but, you know, if you have a specific change you'd like to make, definitely go ahead and propose that amendment right now so we can make sure that the entire bill, the good parts of it at least, don't get killed by this.
Okay. With that, debate against. Senator Riley?
I have kind of two issues with this. The first is the whereas right here, it says that the application process, whereas 7, that the application process for on-campus jobs has led to a lack of reliability among students. I don't think that's necessarily the case here, but like I said earlier, I work on campus. I have since the month after I came to school here at Texas A&M, and worked in multiple parts of the Department of Economics. And I can tell you, doing something like this and adding more red tape to what these departments are already having to go through is not good. And it's not good for the students who are preparing them. I know I might be beating a dead horse, but if we had to call back all the applicants that applied for a student work position like mine, and figure out, input their emails and do all this kind of stuff, it's taking up time and money for the departments. It's not doing any justice for the students. Follow-up is key. If a good candidate wants a job, they're going to follow up and figure out where that job is. So, I yield the floor.
He yielded to me. He's confused. I just want to point out that it's these kind of bureaucratic little things that you have to do because you're required to do. That's why student workers are hired. I know that most of my job for 3 years was to do all the stuff that nobody else has time to do, and that's why they hire student workers to do it. So there's no student worker sitting in that position to send those emails. That's why they're hiring them, not to waste more of their time trying to get somebody to do the menial tasks that are required of them, apparently by student senate. So vote against this bill, shut it down, kill it.
Okay. With that, debate 4, Senator Berry.
Senator Berry, Southside. We do not represent the employers. We do not represent bureaucracies. We represent the students. As a student, I feel that this Senate can do more for our students. And as a student, I feel like if we have the ability to make sure that our students know if they can get paid this month, we should let them know. I do not feel that we should represent anyone else except for our constituents. And this talk of going through bureaucracies and employers, and that is not our concern. The concern is the students. And with that, I yield to the floor.
Okay, thank you.
Debate against. Senator Riley?
I would say this is clearly representing the students, because if you're raising the burden on employers here at Texas A&M, that's going to raise costs and everything. So if you're adding more things for them to do, it's just going to trickle down to the students, and it's just going to all come out in the wash. So I think that we are representing students by not adding more burden on these departments, because the departments aren't going to absorb the burden themselves. They're going to increase costs. They're going to trickle it all the way down to the students. Without even.
Okay. With that, debate 4, Chair Harris.
Withdrawn.
Withdrawn. Okay. Further debate 4. Senator Ganu.
Senator Ganu, engineering. We're not just asking them to call the candidates. We're just asking, once the position is full, you can automatically just take it off. HireAggies.com. Jobs for Aggies, and it'll automatically just email everyone that they got declined. This has nothing to do with being ill-prepared for the workforce. This is just a common courtesy. As Aggies, we want to show the world that we do have courtesy and we are a character. So we can start this trend that if you're not accepted for the job, you should at least say we didn't look, we found other candidates and we no longer need you. I yield to the floor.
Senator Riley, I'm going to give you a warning. I'm not going to call you to order, but debate against. Senator Davis.
Senator Davis off campus. Every summer I go and work for a life-running company. I regionally supervise the Houston area, and basically the worst idea my employer ever had was, hey, let's do a service to the teenagers that work for us and call them all and say, thanks for applying, but we filled the position. He killed 3 days of my time making phone calls, and that's 3 days that I could have been out there doing other things. He spent that extra money on me and another person to come in just to make the phone calls because he wanted to look good. It was great. These kids, they got a yes or a no. But what happened was that was 2 more people that he could have hired on that he spent on us trying to make all these phone calls. Like these are not necessarily all good ideas. And this isn't one of them. I like the idea about putting it on the web, taking it off the website, but calling people is not logistical, not at all. I'm sorry, not just calling people, but emailing them through the process of that too.
Okay, oh, sorry.
We need to get rid of the little league soccer, everybody gets a there's some swear words wanting to blow up, but they're not going to. That mentality that everybody needs to hear back, and everybody's all smiles and rainbows all the time, because it's not. Job market's fierce. Everybody, the 9% unemployed know that right now in this country, and we're going out into that market, and we should be prepared for it. And the more real this experience can be, applying for a job on campus can be for the workforce. That's part of the preparation. That's what we here in Agland call the other education. It's a pretty important part, and I don't think we need to do anything here in this body to discount the reality that the other education provides. And with that, I yield to the floor.
With that, debate 4, Senator Esparza.
Okay, y'all ready to freak out? Yeah. I yield to Senator Bowen.
Howdy. This has been happening more and more. I kind of like it. I kind of feel weird. Anyway, but okay, basically, if I'm understanding Senator Fleckley's argument correctly, it is the school should treat people like crap because that's how they're going to be treated in the real world. And I kind of see that, but the only experience I really had with this was when I was speaker pro tem last year and we were handling vacancy applications. And I just remember, it wasn't even a question to me. If someone didn't get an interview or someone didn't get a position, they should receive an email saying that they didn't and giving them other options. So I think it's just common courtesy to let people know when they haven't gotten a job, so that they just aren't sitting around waiting for something. And then there's also the scenario where someone might get an offer and they might be waiting for something better, and if they never hear back, that could possibly decrease their chances of getting something a job that they want. This isn't asking people to do much work. An email is not hard to do. You could even put all of your candidates in one list and send a mass email to all of them. This isn't a difficult thing. It's just a professional courtesy. It doesn't cost anyone anything. I see no reason not to do it. Without you.
Okay. Debate against Senator Castellano.
So Scott said email, easy, but that's all relative to a certain person. We as a Senate should be making people do this because some people think it's courtesy and it's easy for some other people. Yield to.
Just to address what Scott just said, you can't, with stuff like this, you can't do a massive email to everyone that applied. That position is protected under the Federal Privacy Act. You can't add other people's emails. You can't let other people know who else is applying to a job. It's not that simple. There is a lot. Well, there is a lot that goes into doing contacts of positions that have a lot of applicants. It's awesome if you have a position that has 2 applicants. By all means, give them a call. But it's just this isn't. I hate to beat it as horse. This isn't life right here. This is very much us still trying to all get the participation rate. And with that, I yield to Nicole.
Nicole off campus. I'm gonna have to agree with these guys, and I feel that in the real job market, we're big kids now. It's our turn to step up to the plate. In the real job market, it's our responsibility to do a follow-up with the employer that we're trying to apply to, and that's just how it's supposed to work, essentially. And I yield to.
And bringing up this nonsense about you get an offer and then you're waiting on another one from another employer you haven't heard back yet. The aggressive and the good candidates will go out there and pound the pavement and see where they are with their secrets. And we don't need to make this a requirement for people to do. If people want to provide that courtesy, great. That's a great department to work for. If they don't, you know what? They might have a harder time getting a student worker, but when they do, they're going to be just as happy with them. So it's up to the department, not up to us, to decide who sends emails back and who doesn't. It's per the employer, they get to decide how they're going to hire their employees. It's not for us to dictate. It's not our place. We don't need to do it. And I'm done.
Okay. With that, we got about 2 minutes, 15 seconds.
Move for previous questions.
Motion's been made for previous question. Second, all in favor of previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we will take previous question. This is a clicker vote. 64-31.
Apologize for the absence of campus.
Everybody good? Still clickers? Bradley, you good? Okay. And that fails. Okay, with that, SB 6437, the Open Access Labs Printing Allocation Bill.
Howdy, this is the bill asking that your print allocation be rolled over from the fall to the spring semester.
Please say in order, Senator.
Whatever of the $30 each student is allocated is not used. Pretty simple.
Okay, questions for the bill author? Is any questions? Senator Davis.
Senator Davis, off campus. Is this like rollover minutes for like cell phone plans? Is it kind of the same thing?
I never had that plan, so I'm not sure how it sounds like it, yeah.
Okay, further questions? Going once, going twice, seeing no questions, the chair will close question and answer. We'll move into a period of debate on this bill. Do I see debate for Senator Fleckley?
Senator Fleckley, off campus, I am staunchly in favor of this bill. This is a bill where you get to take a little bit of what you pay and take it with you. It's great, and it will help students that have a lot of printouts one semester and not so much the semester before. It'll help those overages, help those amounts owed to the university, like $10, so you don't get the SBS fee later on in the semester. Things that we've already talked about tonight. It's a great bill. You should vote for it if you love America, and amen.
Debate against. Please say in order. Debate against. Going once. Going twice. Seeing none, chair will close period of debate. We'll move in.
For personal preference.
Stage point.
Can we do a quorum call to call people in?
Yes, we could. Amanda, can you jump out and call people into this? Okay, we're moving into a period of voting on this, so get your clickers out and ready. Once Amanda gets back in, well, you can go ahead. Sorry.
It has to be
37.
Have you heard of Denton, Texas? In a little town called Argyle next to it.
Chair will make the body aware that Chair Thornburg does not have to have surgery.
Hey!
Okay. With that, everybody good? We can close it. And that looks like it passes. With that, Senate, please stay in order. SB 6438, Senate Vacancy Special Election Bill. Scott, this is you.
Oh, is this? Yeah. Howdy. Okay. So that whole process I just talked about, the application process, this gets rid of it and instead replaces it with elections for senators. We talked about it a lot in committee. We talked with the election commissioner, and we decided to change it so that it would only be the fall and the spring elections. So there is no new winter election at which people are elected. It's just the other two. So vacancies will be declared at the second meeting of the fall, not the first, and then filled that way. Spring is exactly the same as normal. Basically, everyone who runs for a Senate seat in the new session, the winners of those elections get put in the old seats that are opened up immediately. So if you get at the very top of your, like if there are eight engineering senators running, and there's one vacancy, the person who's at the very top of the list gets that spot immediately, so they get to start serving sooner. The benefits of this, it takes a lot of work off of the pro tem. It doesn't add any work to the election commissioner, and it makes sure that every student senator is elected, which I think makes us more responsive to our constituents. And it also gives students the ability to influence the student senate at more times throughout the year. So if they're very unhappy with something that's come up at the beginning, there's a fall election that they can then use to make their opinion known in some way. And with that, I'll yield the questions.
Okay, taking questions. Do I see any questions? Senator Fleming.
Senator Fleming, off campus, you stated, and just for clarification, I'm not a personal attack, believe it or not. There is no, you said that there's more opportunity for students to voice their opinion, but no more out of elections. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Right.
I guess I'm
So
unclear.
in the fall election, currently the only people who can vote are freshmen. So there are 2 Senate seats that are elected, and we have our freshman senators now, so we're free all. But other than that, and then freshman class president, but for all of the rest of the students, they don't really get a voice in those. So the only time they get to decide who their student senate is for the coming year is during the spring. So this basically, even though it's not adding any additional, I mean, it's maybe a little bit of work in that there are more candidates and more filing, but it's not adding an additional election from the perspective of the election commission, but it is allowing more people to be involved in an existing election.
Okay.
The dates. The dates?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, they're the same as before. It's whenever freshman class president happens, and then normal spring elections, which are not changed.
Okay, actually, I saw Senator Salon first.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make a point or anything, I just trying to understand. What happens to the Senate seats that are open, like, between the elections?
Well, they're not filled, but it's already like that. So, like right now, we do have a couple of Senate seats that are open that were not filled in the previous vacancy process. They stay open until the next time the vacancy process is. So it's always been that way. Now there are only 2 vacancy fills this time, but if you'll notice, the second vacancy fill, like the first vacancy fill we did this year, I think it was 17 spots we filled. Is that right? Speaker Hathaway. Was it 17 the first time? 17 spots filled?
In the first?
Yeah, in the first round of vacancies.
Yes, and then we had.
And then it was 4 in the second.
Right, and we currently have 1 opening that opened after the vacancy process started.
Right.
And we currently have 75 senators at 76 spots.
Yes. So, even if that did not happen, this does move that first vacancy fill back a little bit. So a couple of those might have been captured. It's basically only a difference of 2 or 3 seats from the current system.
Okay, Senator Robertson. Withdrawn. Senator Newman.
What is the cost of these extra elections?
There are extra elections.
No, I'm sorry.
There is no extra cost. There's a flat, if I understand correctly, and I guess I would have to refer to the privileges or, but I guess just not if I explain this correctly. Then it's pretty much a flat fee to run the entire election system. So no matter how many different spots you have on there, it's exactly the same. So whether you only have 1 position that's being elected or 50, it doesn't make a difference from a cost perspective.
Okay, Senator Davis. Sorry, did I get the wrong name? Okay, Senator Chair Barber.
Yeah, Drew Barber, off Community Relations. Scott, I just was talking to Cody about something. What happens if you have your fall elections, and that's great, and then everybody, with the exception of Speaker Pro Tem, turns around and resigns? How do we no longer have a Senate? We have a speaker in that case, but we have a Speaker Pro Tem with nobody. So how would we feel? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Could that be problematic?
I mean, I suppose that could be a problem. I mean, if that happened right now, if you had, like, we've already done our 2 vacancy bills for the fall, so if everyone were to resign, then we wouldn't be able to do anything until the spring. And even then, I'm not exactly sure about this, but I'm pretty sure that the Pro Tem can't conduct the vacancy process completely on her own if there is no rest of the Senate. I mean, it would be really weird as far as vote totals go. Like, it says you have to have 3 officers in every interview, and there would only be 1 officer. So even under the current rules, if that were to happen, I mean, at that point, we just give up. So, I can't. Chair Spartanburg, 30 seconds.
Former college bag. We have issues with getting people to vote right now in the general elections. Do you think this is, can we increase this at all through having to fill the vacancies? How do you portray or see this happening?
Well, this wouldn't make a change to the spring at all.
Right.
All it would do is take the people who win those and fill the old Senate with them. Can I make a motion to extend Q&A by 2.5 minutes?
That's in order. Motion has been made, seconded. All in favor of extending by 2.5 minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Committee Chair, the ayes have it. You're extended.
For the fall, right now, fall election totals I think are very low. And again, I'm probably wrong about this. Was it about 1,000 people who voted in freshman elections? So out of a freshman class of about 9,000 or 10,000, that's 10 or 11%. So that's already very low turnout. I think if you expand and more seats are being filled, that gives a greater percentage of the student body. Not everyone is going to be able to vote in fall elections. There may be someone who's living in university apartments whose college of net med. All of those seats are already filled. They just don't participate because all of their seats are filled. But I think you'll see in a lot of the big caucuses, there will be some open spots, and so that gives a large number of people the opportunity to participate where they didn't have it before. And so I would say that's a good thing. Senator Heath.
Oh, Nicole Heath, off campus. I guess that I like that the students get to elect the representatives more, but my biggest problem is, or would you be able to like, entertain, I guess, the idea of having a vacancy process between the fall and the spring elections so that students in certain caucuses are always have a chance to be represented? Because I don't want to leave like university departments open with them, their residents not being represented at all. Okay.
Well, if you have your fill in the spring, and freshman senators come in, I think only one meeting before the second vacancy fill. So it's not like you're going to have a situation where the elections take place, and then in between the time where you would normally have an election and a vacancy fill, both of them leave. Because every spot will be filled under this system unless no one runs. And if no one runs, then why even conduct a vacancy process? It's obvious no one wants to be in the Senate from that caucus, and that actually has happened before. But I can't really conceive of a situation where a vacancy is filled once and then becomes empty again in the same session. Usually that doesn't happen. Now when you have the original election, so when we were all elected in the spring, there was a lot of attrition between the spring and the fall, and there were some seats that weren't filled in the spring. But then we got a new class in, we got a lot more people who were excited about applying, and we did fill those seats. So every seat was filled, and there aren't any empty caucuses now. I don't see that happening, and being a problem that needs to be addressed. And if it is, then it would be pretty easy to write another bylaw bill that would fix it later if we run into that.
Okay, that concludes our period of question and answer. We're now in a period of debate. I will see Chair Bain for debate 4.
Chair Bain, rules and regs. I absolutely love this bill. One of the reasons why I really love this bill is I came in as inside of the vacancy process. I was the first student of the class of 2011 to be inside of the student senate. Okay, so just hear that. I was before the freshman elections and all that kind of stuff. The thing that frustrates me most about the freshmen and the freshman elections is that they have every student is double represented, either through an academic major or through a specific living area, whether it be off-campus, south side. Freshmen can be construed as triple represented. But the thing is they don't have any ability to choose the senators that are going to be in their spots for their academic college. This will give them that opportunity pending the fact that they have a vacancy inside of their caucus. So this is great for the freshmen, it's great for the student senate, and honestly, it's great for the pro tem because the vacancy process that we have right now is frustrating. It's not defective, it's just frustrating. And this is going to add legitimacy to our positions by creating another election, allowing students to voice their opinions inside of the student senate, and everybody wins. So gig 'em.
Gig 'em. With that, DRC debate against. Going once, going twice, Seeing none, Chair will deem debate one-sided. We will close debate, move into a period of voting. This is de facto clicker vote, so get that going. This does require 2/3 because it is a bylaws bill, FYI. Looks like everybody is clicked, so we will close the poll. And that does pass. Wait, is there a question? Okay, yeah, so that passes. All right, SP 6441, Scholarship Common Application Bill. Please stay in order. I just called Senator Syria out of work. Not my fault. I can hear her voice. I can hear yours.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Come on. This is the scholarship common application bill. In committee, we went ahead and moved the part about asking the Office of Financial Aid to work better on this because I know Senator Savica was there in the meeting when they discussed it and they've been working hard on it. So we didn't want it to be misconstrued as them thinking that we're calling them out for not working on it. So this is more a call to action from the faculty senate so they can maybe work with